Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this afternoon's live commentary coverage of the Pocono Raceway's Great American Getaway 400 for the NASCAR Cup Series and what is the 16th round of the 2026 NASCAR Cup Series schedule. Here today, Denny Hamlin, who has qualified on the pole 3 consecutive weeks, trying to go for 3 consecutive race wins for the first time in his NASCAR Cup Series career. Can anybody else take him down today? Kyle Larson, who starts on the front row, still searching for his first win of the season after coming in off a championship a season ago. And the likes of Ryan Blaney, a two-time Pocono winner, also starting up inside the top 10, trying to go for win number 2. Last year's race winner, Chase Briscoe, starting in the back half of the top 10. We'll see what he can do here today as he tries to go for back-to-back race wins at Pocono, and also looking still for his first win of 2026 and many others. Thanks for everybody tuning in here for this one. Early start time for today's stream. The start time for the race itself has been moved up about 2 hours from the original start, so we will be green flag racing here in about 20 to 30 minutes. That's why we are live right now, and appreciate everybody tuning in here for this Sunday afternoon. 400 miles, 160 laps, our scheduled distance at Pocono, and per usual on the channel, we usually have some NASCAR trivia that we will do as we get started with the live commentary Cup Series streams. So this weekend we're going to do a NASCAR Pocono quiz, and we actually did do a quiz yesterday during the we did this quiz. In fact, all the Pocono race winners got 100% on that during the practice and qualifying stream yesterday afternoon. So today, we're going to do a different quiz, NASCAR Pocono related, and see what they have to offer. All-time laps led at Pocono. First race here was 1974. Figure why not? 20 minutes on the clock. We'll see what we can do. Try to get all 126 drivers who have led a lap at Pocono. We got 20 minutes on the clock. We'll see what we can do. We'll start this quiz as soon as I get back. I got to grab my phone. I do not have that in the room with me. All right, I'm back. Left my phone out there. I need the chat. Help play along. See what you all think. All right. Let's get into this. Got a lot of ads down at the bottom of the screen. We'll get those away. All right. NASCAR Pocono. Let's get some former winners in there first. I don't know when this was last updated. So just put Chase Briscoe, 2017. So this quiz is a little outdated. Throw Kyle Larson in there first. Chase Elliott. Ryan Blaney won in 2017. Dave Blaney's going to be on here as well. Denny Hamlin. The Bush brothers. Matt Kenseth is a former winner here. Greg Biffle. Carl Edwards. Earnhardt Jr., Sr. Just trying to go with former winners first. We got Petty, Pearson, Bonnet, Dale Jarrett, Ricky Rudd, Tony Stewart, Kevin Harvick, Alex Bowman, Suarez on here at all? Yes, he is. Chastain is not. Landon Castle. Okay, I'm going off the rails right now. I gotta get back on this. We gotta go with the former winners here first. Waltrip, Allison, Rusty Wallace, Harry Gant, Kelly Yarborough, Buddy Baker, Benny Parsons, Phil Parsons also on the list. Casey Kane. Joey Logano. Brad Keselowski. Not sure if there's any other winners. Put the Dinger. Michael McDowell. Oh, Chris Buescher. Chris Buescher. Now I think I've got all the former winners, at least from active drivers. Austin Ty Dillon. Ryan Newman's a former winner here. I didn't put him yet. Jeremy Mayfield. Throw Rick Mast in there. Paul Menard on here at all? No. Got Jeff and Ward Burton. The Labontes have both won here. Terry Bobby. Ryan Vickers, Casey Mears, Reed Sorensen. Stremme on here at all? No. JJ Yaley's on here. Jimmy Spencer. Kenny Schrader, Morgan Shepherd. Helen Kulwicki. Joe Nemechek. Johnny Benson. Scott Riggs on here at all? Yep. Travis Kvapil. Dave Marcus. Larry Foyt. John Andretti. Bobby Hamilton. Yeah, Marcus Ambrose. Montoya. Jamie McMurray. Sterling Marlin. Arnie Irvin. Steve Park. Jeff Green. Okay. Tony Raines. No Tony Raines. Mike Bliss. Jack Sprague. Johnny Sauter. Struck out those last four. Jeff Bodine's on here. Wow, second most laps led at Pocono for Jeff Bodine. Scott Speed. Lake Speed. Lake Speed's on here. Hornish on here at all? David Gilliland. David Reagan. Trevor Bain is not on here. Ricky Stenhouse. Did not put Jimmy Johnson on here yet. Gordon. Cecil Gordon. I wouldn't have gotten that. Robbie Gordon and Jeff Gordon. Almirola. Eric Jones. Got a PJ Jones on there as well. Joe Ruttman. Stacy Compton. No, let's go Robert Presley. Presley's on here. Let's go Ted Musgrave. Chad Little. Nola Joy. No Smith. No Michael Annette. Justin Allgaier is on the list. Parker Kligerman. David Rudiman. I didn't get Martin Truex Jr. yet. That's another former winner. Jerry Nadeau. Hornaday? Nope. Dick Trickle. Leroy Yarborough on here? Nope. Kevin Harvick, Nemechek. I've got all the names that Bam's put in the chat. I got all those. Oh, Bobby Isaac. Clint Boyer. Trying to think if there's any more. Justin Haley? No. Let's think here. Active drivers. Who's all been around since 2017? That's the hard part. Josh Wise. Danica Patrick on here? Danica's on here. She'll had 5 laps at Pocono. We have 100 of 126. I'm trying to circle back if there's anybody. Jason Leffler? Nope. Mike Skinner? He's on here. Do have Tony Stewart. I do feel like I'm missing some former winners. There's 2 drivers with over 300 laps led here that I have not named yet. We got all the former winners yesterday. See, I started this quiz and I was so far out of order. No Patrick Carpentier. Casey Atwood. Wall Trip. Who else? Kenny Irwin. Kenny Irwin Jr. not on the list. Derek Cope. He's on here. David Starr. A lot of back markers in there still, probably that only led a lap or 2. That could be any time period, though. 8 minutes left on the clock. We have 102 of 126 so far. I don't think I put Elliott Sadler yet. There we go. 103 of 126. To Benedetto. Good effort, Bam. No dude Benedetto. Bruce Andrews, thanks for tuning in. Bam Hall, Marcus Villarreal, Duddlebug5, thanks for tuning in as well. Of those in the chat. We're getting close to the start of the race on the live commentary side of things. I don't want to just straight give up on this quiz because there's a couple big ones that I haven't named yet. And I definitely don't want to miss those. Making sure my fantasy team's locked in as well. Dropping the green flags for about 1:20 Eastern, so we still have about 25 minutes from now. Hold off on the fantasy league then, since we got 20 minutes there. Focus for the next 6 minutes. 6 to 6.5 minutes. Anybody who has ever led a lap at Pocono or quiz for this week. Who are some of the big names I'm missing? I put Dale Jarrett yet? Yeah, I did. I mean, there's got to be a couple big names. Chat's going to have to help me. 448 laps led. Who is that? No, not Ned Jarrett. Same last name as Dale Jarrett. I already have Dale Jarrett. First race was in 74. Yeah, is there anybody from like the 70s I'm missing? Big names. $103. We've been stuck at 103 for about the last 2 to 3 minutes plus. This is really tough. Definitely have to be above average right now. I'd be shocked if we're not. Purvis? Nope. Dollenbeck? Wally Dollenbeck. Well, we got another one. $104. Still just trying to think back if there's anybody active I haven't named. Ganassi, we got Montoya, Marlin, McMurray, Larson. I tried Chastain, he's not on here. Stremme, Sorensen, Mears, Mark Martin. Wow, that would have been bad. That was a big one I was missing. Mark Martin. Tim Richmond is the other former winner I'm missing. He won here 4 times. Okay. I can breathe a little easier that we did not skip Richmond or Martin. Ricky Craven? Okay, we're starting to get some. Got 4 of them in the last minute or so. I do have Awesome Bill from Dawsonville. Ronnie Hood, thanks for tuning in. Gave me a like, appreciate that. Thanks, Ronnie. Chris Dave, thanks for tuning in, playing along. We got 2 minutes left on the clock. 107 of 126. Any driver who's led a lap at Pocono. There's still 2 drivers. There's one with 66 laps led, another one with 39. Man, who would have been up at the front that often? Probably didn't win here. So I think I've got all the former winners. I said that before, and then I realized I forgot Mark Martin and Tim Richmond. Got less than a minute on the clock. I don't know. I think I'm all out. 30 seconds. All right, we're just going to let this time tick away. Unless the chat's got anything else. 2-1-0. Greg Sachs. Greg Sachs had a good run at Pocono. 66 laps led. Hut Strickland, 39 laps led. Bobby Hillen Jr., 16. Got Kevin LePage, 7. I don't know who Trevor Boys is. Trevor Boys with 7. Got Ron Bouchard. Doug Heveron. I don't know who that is either. Jimmy Hensley, Buddy Arrington, Scott Wimmer on here. It's a driver from my lifetime. Rob Moroso, Jimmy Means, Pancho Carter, Lenny Pond, Stanton Barrett on here. It's an interesting one. Jody Ridley. Don't know Ronnie Thomas and Jack Pennington. And we got 85%. Average score 72%. So there we go. So NASCAR all-time laps led at Pocono, 85%. Our score, 72%, the average. So there we go. All right, good job, gang. Good job. Good job. Thanks for playing along. For everybody, we'll go back to NASCAR.com. And we are down to about 15 minutes before the drop of the green flag for today's race. Let's go NASCAR.com. Fantasy. And you can join the Fantasy League on the NASCAR.com website and or the NASCAR mobile app. The name of the league is KRC League. So KRC in all capital letters, space, capital L on league. That is our league name. All right. So here we go. Team, this is from last week, so we're going to make some adjustments here. And I'm going to throw Kyle Larson, who looked very fast yesterday, qualified on the front row, starting second. He was fastest in practice overall as well. Denny Hamlin's riding a hot streak. I think he is the favorite for the win. I'm actually going to pick Denny Hamlin for the race win today, so he'll be on the team as well. We'll leave Chase Briscoe. I'll take Christopher Bell out. First race with that broken wrist. Not quite sure how that's going to be for him exactly. So that can be very hit or miss. Chris Buescher has been very good here in the past. And he had a pretty decent run at Michigan last week. We'll put Chris Buescher in there. I'll leave Ty Gibbs. He had a fast car at Michigan last week. Got taken out in an early wreck. And I'll probably take Carson Hocevar out. Take out Hocevar and we'll put in... Eric Jones was quick last week. I think he's a good driver. Jones fast last week. Finished second in stage 2 and the race. Start 7 today. I think Jones is a good garage pick. Head-to-head, we got Ryan Blaney versus Chase Briscoe. I'm a Blaney fan through and through, but I'm going Chase Briscoe. The Toyotas have just been that quick. Hamlin's my pick for the win, so I'm taking him over Chase Elliott. Elliott was not good in practice yesterday. He was 30th and qualified 23rd, so I'm a little concerned, despite the fact that Elliott had a top 3 car last week in Michigan. Eric Jones versus Alex Bowman. I'm going to go Eric Jones. Riding that Jones mini hot streak going right now, and Legacy Motor Club as a whole, very good at Pocono last season also. Nemechek, John Hunter Nemechek actually had a 6th place finish at Pocono last season. And then Chris Buescher, Joey Logano. We're going to go Chris Buescher. Joey Logano's been far too inconsistent for me to put him on the team. So looking at who I've got in my fantasy league, I think I'm going to leave it the way it is. We'll go Kyle Larson, Ty Gibbs, Denny Hamlin, Chris Buescher, Chase Briscoe, Eric Jones will be in the garage for the start. You have until the end of stage 2 to lock in those starting 5s. Dustin Brandt, thanks for tuning in as well. Tyler Reddick going to win today and win the championship. Yeah, I'm taking Denny Hamlin. I'm riding the hot hand. I'm going Denny Hamlin for the win. I do think he gets 3 in a row. He has won at Pocono 7 times. He has won here in the Next Gen area. He finished runner-up at Pocono last season as well. So give me Denny Hamlin. Tris Davis, thanks for tuning in as well. I don't know if I gave you a shout out yet or not. Dean Tate, welcome back. Got just over 50 people in the chat, so thanks for everybody tuning in here today. Races on Prime Video, for those of you wondering where you can watch visually. Second to last race of the 5-race slot for this summer. Late spring, early summer on Amazon Prime Video. So Adam Alexander, Dale Earnhardt Jr., Steve Letarte will be in the booth. Our scheduled distance today, again, is 160 laps for 400 miles around the 2.5-mile tricky triangle. 30 laps in stage 1. Stage 2 will be 65 laps, and the final stage also 65 laps in length. So they will not have to pit for fuel or tire purposes in the first stage. We'll see if anybody maybe flips the stage when we get closer to the end of it of those at the front of the field, but they don't have to pit. All right. Pull up Prime Video real quick. Let's see. Should be about 10 minutes from the drop of the green flag, with the start time getting moved up. I believe it is a 1:20 p.m. drop of the green flag. So we're only 10 minutes away from the drop of the green flag for today's race. Drivers are already in their cars. And I believe we're just waiting on the command to fire engines at this point. I'll let you listen into that when we do get a chance to fire engines, which should be any moment.
Pocono Raceway.
Here we go. That's fantastic. We got Ben Franklin and Betsy Ross to give the command to fire engines for today's race. That is fantastic. Resurrected from the dead. Betsy Ross and Ben Franklin here today at Pocono Raceway. Great to see. All right. Starting lineup for today's Great American Getaway 400 will look like this. Denny Hamlin, the 7-time Pocono winner and 6-time pole sitter, now on the pole yet again, as he will be going for 3 straight wins as of this week. Kyle Larson still in search for his first win of the season on the front row for one of the few times this season. Fastest in practice yesterday. High hopes for Larson today. In row 2 will be Daniel Suarez, who's a one-time winner this year in the Coke 600, and Ty Gibbs, who had a win at Bristol. Chase Briscoe, last year's race winner here, and the 2016 winner Chris Buescher in row 3. Row 4 will be Eric Jones, who's a former runner-up, and John Hunter Nemechek, who finished 6th last season, his teammate in row 4. Row 5 will be William Byron, who has the best finish at Pocono, a 3rd in 2021, and Ryan Blaney, a 2-time Pocono winner in 2017 and 2024. 2011 winner 2012 winner, Joey Logano on the inside of row 6, and 2021 winner Alex Bowman to his outside. In row 7 will be Michael McDowell, a great qualifying effort for the 33 of Austin Hill this week. Row number 8, Cole Custer and Tyler Reddick, the series points leader. In row number 9 will be Austin Cindric and Zane Smith. And rounding out the top half of the field in row 10, AJ Allmendinger and Josh Berry. Row number 11, Ricky Stenhouse Jr., Christopher Bell. Bell racing with a broken wrist following a terrible crash last weekend at Pocono. And then as we go to row number 12, it'll be Chase Elliott, the 2023 race winner, and Ross Chastain, who has not yet scored a top 10 at Pocono, looking for his first today. He'll be starting 24th. In row 13, Riley Herbst and Carson Hocevar. And row number 14, Ty Dillon and rookie Connor Zilic. Row 15, Todd Gillen and Noah Gragson. Row 16 will be Shane Van Gisbergen, who's just inside the chase cut line right now, and Austin Dillon. Cody Ware, and second career start for Daniel Dye in the 78, will be in row 17. Row 18 for RFK, Ryan Preece and Casey Mears back this weekend. Alongside Brad Keselowski, Bubba Wallace, bringing up the rear of the field in row 19. Keselowski, the former winner here in 2011. Bubba Wallace crashed in qualifying yesterday, did not even make a lap, and then Keselowski finished his lap, but he was down on power, about 18 seconds off of Casey Mears in 36th, following something going wrong there with the engine where he had dropped the main Brad Keselowski had dropped the cylinder in his race car, So he had dropped the cylinder, had to start at the back. I'm sure some changes have been made. That's part of the reason I believe Ryan Preece also qualified back in 35th. I don't think he was running on full power on his qualifying lap either. And the other RFK Ford, Chris Buescher, starting up there in the top 10. So not sure exactly what happened and what was amiss there, but I'm sure the team has diagnosed it, and they'll be ready to go for today. Point standings coming into this weekend's race will look like this, and it will be scrolling across the top of the screen throughout the broadcast as well. Tyler Reddick with a 51-point lead over Denny Hamlin for the regular season championship. After back-to-back wins for Hamlin, he has went from 130 points back in second to now 51, and he mathematically could take the points lead again here today if he can get a win and a little bit of help with maybe a poor run for Tyler Reddick. Ryan Blaney 157 back in third, then Chase Elliott fourth, Ty Gibbs rounding out the top 5 in the series points. Sitting sixth is Kyle Larson with Carson Hocevar seventh in the standings, up 2 spots after top 5 at Michigan last week. Chris Buescher eighth, Daniel Suarez ninth, and Christopher Bell, after his crash last week, drops him back to 10th in the standings. Bubba Wallace at 11th, up 4 spots last week after a great top 3 run at Michigan. William Byron in 12th, Chase Briscoe 13th, Shane Van Gisbergen 14th, Brad Keselowski 15th, one of the first drivers inside the cut line. Last driver inside the cut line, Austin Cindric, has a 3-point cushion over Joey Logano for that final spot. His teammate Logano -3. Then Eric Jones comes in -18, followed by Ryan Preece -19, and a bigger gap back down to a tie for 20th between Michael McDowell and AJ Allmendinger. So that is the top 20 in points, and remember the top 16 will make the chase at the end of the regular season. Bond 1771, thanks for tuning in as well. You can vote for who you think is going to win today's race in our chat poll. 37 votes have been casted in the pre-race so far. 32% of those votes taking both Other and Kyle Larson for the win. 24% taking my pick, Denny Hamlin, and only 11% taking the points leader, Tyler Reddick. For more late-breaking updates, here is the Prime Video broadcast leading up to the drop of the green flag.
And Alex Butler, who won this race 5 years ago. And in row 7, Michael McDowell and Austin Hill. Here's Kim Coon.
Thanks, Adam. Well, Chris Buescher has had a lot of speed here, so pace, not an issue, but with so many other things to juggle, I wanted to know from crew chief Scott Graves what his biggest concern is. He said restarts. He noted everyone was really conservative at the start of the year, but it seems like since Dover, everyone's turned a little crazy. The attrition rate's much higher. Specifically, drivers aren't giving any space on restarts. So for Scott, that's worrisome because here at Pocono, restarts are already wild and drivers super aggressive.
Continuing the starting grid in row 8. Got the 41 of Cole Custer in the Haas Autodesk Chevrolet alongside the 45 of Tyler Reddick driving 2311. Back in row 9, the 2 of Austin Cindric in the Menards Ford. And Zane Smith having a couple of good runs over the last several weeks. Row 10, the 16 of AJ Allmendinger, the Celsius Chevrolet. And Josh Berry in the 21 Wood Brothers Ford. Back in row 11, the 47 of Ricky Stenhouse Jr. in the Pylon Aviation Chevrolet. And Christopher Bell with that injured left wrist in the number 20 for Joe Gibbs. Row 12, Chase Elliott in the number 9 Napa Auto Parts Chevrolet. And then Ross Chastain in the Busch Light Lime Chevrolet. Row 13, the 35 of Riley Herbst in the 2311 Toyota, and the 77 Hurricane Hocevar is back there in 26th place. Let's get down to Trevor for more on Tyler Reddick.
Yeah, guys, Tyler Reddick is looking to pick back up where he left on the racetrack in Michigan after having his first finish of the season outside the top 15 with that 35th place finish. Talked with Billy Scott, and he did mention points. I know that conversation has come up a lot about what about Denny, who's closing that gap, and it was part of the conversation. We could see it play into their strategy today, but again, that 45 car was lightning fast in practice. They did some fuel saving to see what they've got for strategy today. Look for Tyler Reddick to drive from 16th to the front early here.
Thank you, Trevor. Back in starting grid, row 14, we have Ty Dillon behind the wheel of 10, and the only teenager in the field, Connor Zilic behind the wheel of the 88. Front row teammates make up row 50, Todd Gilliland and Noah Gregson. Back in row 16, Shane Van Gisbergen, he'll roll it off next to 3 of Austin Dillon. Back in row 17, Cody Ware starting next to Dave Dye, who's only making his second Cup Series start today. Row 18, we have Ryan Preece and Casey Mears. And back in row 19, from the prime desk to behind the wheel of the 6th car, we have Brad Keselowski. He'll start next to Bubba Wallace. Marty.
Boys, he won a tough 3-week stretch for the rookie out of Trackhouse Racing in the 88 of Connor Zilic. 3 straight last place finishes. I asked his crew chief, Randall Burnett, how were the meetings this week? He said, actually fairly productive and fairly positive. The number one message from Randall Burnett for Connor Zilic: give yourself some grace for the last 3 weeks. Cup Series racing will be the hardest thing you will do in your entire life. The other message, Take what the car will give you. Do not force things. On paper, Adam, these next 3 races should be very good for Connor Zilic. He's won here in the past in the O'Reilly Series and 2 road courses in a row where Zilic is very quick. As Randall Burnett told me, we just need a solid finish to get our driver a little bit of confidence back.
That's a great point, Marty. Lay a foundation today so you have that confidence you need going to San Diego next week and Sonoma 2 weeks from now. Let's do our Harbor Freight Tools for Victory. We talked a lot about Pocono and the challenges of the 3 corners. Handling is always a key, but as I said earlier, and I'll go back to it again, fuel mileage, fuel mileage, fuel mileage. You have to be efficient because it just opens up opportunities for different strategies. Yeah, and restarts. You know, we want control of the race. We want to be on at the front of the field throughout this event, but you can lose control of that race by getting these restarts wrong. Having that pusher in that second row stay committed to you down into turn 1 will be important. Don't get taken 3 wide by somebody who's antsy back there in row 2, 3, or 4. And then execute better than I did by skipping it. Execution, the second one right there. And that's really the key, right? We talk about fuel mileage and strategy. Dale, you talk about the restarts. All of that's great, but it doesn't take but one little trip up and you get behind. And there, even though it's a 400-mile race, we're looking at maybe 4 pit stops for the winner. There's not a lot of time to recover. The depth is in the detail. Oh, I know. Put a mark by his name. Let's go back downstairs and hear from our pit reporters one more time. What do you have for us, Trip?
Yeah, guys, I'm getting my eyes fixed on these Legacy Motor Club Toyotas of John Hunter Nemechek and Eric Jones. We see them both qualifying inside the top 10 here at Pocono, which is kind of a big jump for them. And you look at their past results at this place. I watched this organization over the last couple of years and been fortunate to be a small part of it. And they talk so much about culture building. Culture building doesn't show up overnight. The results don't come. But the last couple of weeks, they put the competition on notice, showing that their Toyotas are getting quicker too. Kim?
Well, Trevor, Chase Elliott has the best average finish at Pocono in the next-gen car of any driver in the field, so they're hoping for a big day. But it's going to be an uphill battle after qualifying 23rd, but the number 9 team, very optimistic about the race car they have this weekend. Crew Chief Alan Gustafson said the car is better than it qualified. We have no doubt about that. So I asked him what's going to be key for the early part of this race, starting deeper in the field. And he told me we've got to race our way into at least the top 15th position to be able to open up our strategy options and take advantage of that speed, Marty.
Tim Chase Briscoe is the defending winner here at Pocono, and you heard him say on NASCAR Live, the pressure here last year was to prove that I belong behind the wheel of a Joe Gibbs racing car. He told me earlier this week the pressure is similar this weekend, but the goal is different. We feel like we should be a championship contending team. In order to do that, we're 100 points outside the top 5. We need to be in that top 5 by the end of the regular season. That only comes with wins, and this might be one of our best chances to do it today.
Briscoe has won here, so is Alex Bowman. Here's 48 radio.
It's old time racing. The crowd's packed, traffic stopped. We got all kinds of cool stuff we can do on Fair Road. This is all. Yeah, man, I'm here for it. You know, good day.
4 straight weeks, we've had a sellout crowd. This place is awesome. The atmosphere is electric. Denny Hamlin, the ultimate
Sellout crowd for the 4th consecutive NASCAR Cup Series event, and here this weekend, Long Pond, Pennsylvania, Pocono Raceway. Green flag is in the air. Denny Hamlin in the Minions car will lead the field to the green, and we are underway. And the field rumbles down towards turn 1 off the longest straightaway in NASCAR. 2 by 2, and off the exit of turn number 1, it's still going to be a side-by-side battle for the lead between Hamlin and Larson up at the front of the pack. Couple rows of 3 wide through the center of turn 1. Everything funnels out of the first turn. At least coordinatedly enough that there was no major contact, no incident. We stay green. And through the tunnel turn now up the Long Pond straightaway between turns 1 and 2. Kyle Larson is going to be the one to come out with the race lead. Denny Hamlin swinging to the bottom of the racetrack in turn 3. A defensive move to try to stay in front of the 7 of Daniel Suarez, who's in hot pursuit. Gets to the outside of Denny Hamlin. Carries momentum off the high side from the exit of turn 3. And down the main front straightaway again. Now Suarez can utilize the draft off the leader Larson to try to pull past Denny Hamlin. And Hamlin back up to side draft the 7. Not enough horsepower in that 7 car, nor a good enough turn off of turn 3 to be able to complete the pass. And as these two run side by side for second, Larson pulling away just a bit. Hamlin cannot get clear of Suarez through turn 1 either. Joe Gibbs Racing Toyota still battling for 4th side by side off turn 1 on the second lap as well. That would be Chase Briscoe and Ty Gibbs. While Kyle Larson from the second starting spot leads the opening lap of the race. should easily lead lap 2 as he's got about an 0.8 of a second lead over Hamlin and Suarez, who are nose-to-nose for the second consecutive lap into turn 3. Suarez can get a better turn off on that high side, off turn number 3, pinching Denny Hamlin down towards the bottom. And finally, Suarez is about clear. Hamlin's still hanging in there. Quick side draft to the left rear corner panel before pulling away again. And Hamlin actually does win the battle after all into turn 1 for second place. So Hamlin up to P2. After about a 2-lap battle with Daniel Suarez for the second place position on our opening laps of the race, Briscoe was also able to get by Ty Gibbs for 4th. Kyle Larson setting the fastest lap of the race, by the way, at the end of that second lap. We'll see if he can best that on lap number 3. As they come back to the start-finish line again, 53.546 in the clean air for Larson, fastest lap of the race.
This whole track, talk about 3 distinct corners as we ride on board with Gibbs on the Monster Energy as we head into the tunnel. This is what I talked about, that kind of very narrow entry, picks up the gas, but it's kind of like corner, momentum down the straightaway. Corner, momentum down the straightaway. It's all about when you get offline, can you recover or are you going to lose positions?
Monster Energy onboard camera.
Very good, tight right there, guys. Watch the 19 drive away, just a little bit tight to the center of the corner there. That turn 3 is the most important corner because it leads onto this long straightaway. If you get off that corner poorly, you could be, in a bad spot here with cars catching you down this straightaway into turn 1.
Something else to watch, Steve. We saw this yesterday in the O'Reilly race. That's a lot of debris floating around on the front straightaway. You get that on the grill. I mean, what does that do to challenge you?
So the Cup cars not as sensitive as the O'Reilly cars. Their grill openings are actually basically wide open. It'll go up in there, and as we ride on board with Cedric on the Ford camera. So these cars, surprisingly enough, the debris shouldn't overheat. Now, it can't get in a position where it starts the engine for a little air and start to hurt power. But unfortunately, we kind of never know because it's underneath the hood, kind of out of sight. Trying to get a little organized here. That's 16 of AJ Allmendinger out of line. And 41 Cole Custer trying to fight for another spot here. 16 might be able to get there. Clearing right there off turn green. Christopher Bell right behind these two, trying to carry momentum down the straightaway. Maybe try to put pass together on Cole Custer here on the entrance to turn 1. Out of line, top of your screen. That cast roll forward up a bunch of spots. Bell pulls out of line. Brad doing a nice job up 8 spots.
Yeah, nice to see +8 into the back. Brad Forrest on that start line. This has been a good track for us. The only one better in that category was Smart +9. Now Bubba Wallace +10. Another driver coming up the back. Crashed yesterday in qualifying. And Steve, we were like, probably a backup car. Not the case. They repaired the primary with those changes. He still comes from the rear.
Yeah, I wasn't even probably. I just assumed it was a backup. Huge damage for the 23. It's really remarkable how kind of these cars can be repaired, how modular they are. You can unbolt the front nose, unbolt the front clip, change the parts as needed with confidence. Here's Brad right there, that blue and green car right behind the 23 of Bubba. And I think the experience between these two, remember they started together on the front row. So while they're racing each other, I talked about the momentum. So we're going to see if Bubba pulls out of line, does Brad kind of push him through instead of trying to attack the 23? So you see the 23 up the racetrack a little bit. So you'll see if he can get to the outside for 3. Probably not, but he might have momentum off the top. If he pulls down low, maybe the 6 tries to go with him. Back row to 6 to increase, another RFK Ford. Oh, SVG likes that 3-wide thought. And he's going to stick down in there in the tunnel turn, trying to get that spot away. SVG's going to have a nose ahead there.
Kyle Larson leads as we work lap 8. We remember Kyle Busch. track really has done a great job here recognizing and remembering Kyle Busch, NASCAR Live, and Danielle did such a wonderful job of telling that story as well. And it's a good time every week we go silent, lap 8. Let's get an update from the pit lane. Here's Marty Snyder. Kenny Hamlin started on the pole, Adam, and then had that terrific battle with Daniel Suarez to hang on to the second position. Once that settled out, Hamlin did want to tell Chris Lambert, his spotter, a message. Here was that message. That was on the initial start of the race. So, Dale, if it wasn't a big deal to Denny Hamlin, why did he want to relay that message to Kyle Larson to say, hey, you ran me out of the room on the start of the race?
Yeah, I think he's just trying to send a message that, for the rest of the race, if they're going to be racing each other, looking at the 5 cars, going to be up there with Denny most of the day if they don't have any trouble. He wants a little more consideration on restarts. I'm sure, when we get to the final few restarts, Marty, all that's off the table. And Denny knows that, but he's just saying, hey, it's early in the race. No need to be aggressive. These two guys have had some run-ins here, at this racetrack. So maybe that's still fresh on their mind as well. Toyota onboard camera riding with Denny. I think he's ahead of the game. Last couple weeks started on the pole. He was already in the back today.
All right, we'll go through the full field running order. 10 laps complete out of 160. Caution free in the early going at Pocono Raceway. Kyle Larson with a 1.6 second advantage over Denny Hamlin to start things off today. 2.3 seconds ahead of third place Daniel Suarez and 5.1 seconds on top of the fourth place car of Chase Briscoe. Ty Gibbs rounds out the top 5 in 5th, and then 6th is Chris Buescher, 7th William Byron, Eric Jones 8th, John Hunter Nemechek 9th, and Ryan Blaney rounding out the top 10. 11th is Tyler Reddick with Zane Smith 12th, Alex Bowman 13th, Joey Logano 14th, Austin Cindric 15th, Austin Hill 16th, 17th is Carson Hocevar, Michael McDowell 18th, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. 19th, and AJ Allmendinger 20th. 21st, Cole Custer with Christopher Bell in 22nd, Rush Chastain in 23rd, Chase Elliott 24th, Riley Herbst 25th, Josh Berry 26th, Ty Dillon 27th, Austin Dillon 28th, Bubba Wallace 29th after starting last, and Brad Keselowski, who also started in the last row, is up to 30th. 31st, Shane Van Gisbergen with Ryan Preece 32nd, Todd Gillen 33rd, 34th, Noah Gragson, and 35th, Cody Ware. 36th is Connor Zilic, Daniel Dye 37th, and Casey Mears rounds out the 38-car field for this afternoon. We'll take our first break of the stream. You're listening live on KRC. Full flag-to-flag coverage of today's Great American Getaway 400 at Pocono continues. Lots of racing still to go here in this one, with Kyle Larson leading every lap so far of the first 11, and track position obviously being key at Pocono, but especially in this first stage of only 30 laps, knowing we will not have to see any pit stops. More than a 10-second gap behind first, you're not really going to have the opportunity to try to flip the stage by pitting and staying on the lead lap for a 4-tire stop. So if we go caution-free through stage number 1 and we get to about lap 27, 28 as pit road closes with 2 laps to go in the stage when the race leader gets to the start-finish line, it would eliminate the possibility of being able to do anything to kind of leapfrog the field. And as of right now, just within 10 seconds of the leader would only be the top 12 positions in the running order, and that's after 12 laps. So we'll see where we're going to be another 15 to 16 laps from now and how many drivers are going to be within that range, because I'd imagine it's going to be much less than 12. A lot of cautions in yesterday's O'Reilly Auto Parts Series race, a track record for that series, 10 cautions in a 250-mile, 100-lap race. Had 3 cautions in the first 18 laps, and we're only on lap 12 right now, but we haven't even had one yet. So a lot more calm, cool, and collected, longer race, less aggressiveness out of the gate here for this one. We'll see if that ratchets up at all. We'll also see if weather becomes any kind of an impact in this race today. If rain looks to hit right around that 3 to 4 o'clock hour, could see some aggressive strategies like we saw in the Coca-Cola 600 a month ago, and Daniel Suarez was able to pull off a 2-tire strategy call, fend off the field for a couple restarts quickly, and was able to pick up the win with a rain-shortened event. There are no lights at Pocono, so in the event of a rainstorm, and this being a 2.5-mile racetrack, it would take well over 60 to 90 minutes to dry the track once the rainstorm stops. and we would have to probably get this race in by around 8:30 or so. So, with all that being said, I don't think we're going to be in any kind of a circumstance where NASCAR is going to wait it out a long time, and we only have to get to halfway, which would be 80 laps of 160 to make the race official, since we'll get to halfway before the end of stage 2, which would be lap 95.
You'll see over 200 if you're tight in a draft, kind of by yourself, maybe low 190s. That's just how draggy this car is. Downshift into fourth gear, some brake. We talked about the brakes into turn 1, what it can do. A little bit playing with the throttle right here. You'll get a fifth. Now, in practice, I saw a lot of cars run fifth gear all the way through the tunnel. We'll see if Denny decides to downshift or if he'll stay in fifth through the tunnel. Stays in fifth all the way through the tunnel. Minimum speed still in the high 150. That probably makes sense to stay there. There's a little cat and mouse game between the 5 and the 11 right now because, as you mentioned, not only are you trying to save a little gas, but, you know, with 15 laps to go on the stage, the other goal is this track, much like the road courses, you can pit and not lose a lap if you're close enough to the leader. Well, here at Pocono, it's about 15 seconds back. So what these two are trying to do, because they want to stay out, win the stage, get all these stage points, and everybody that pits before the end of the stage will just jump over them. So they're trying to gap those guys. Currently, AJ Allmendinger and Hocevar back at 17th and 18th, they're kind of at that threshold where they can hit without losing a lap. The 5 and the 11 are just trying to gap that as best as they can, run as fast as they can. The 5 is not running as fast as Denny over the last couple of laps. Denny was 3/10 quicker the lap before, 1/10 quicker this lap. And this is what we've seen out of the 11 car. Not the quickest car firing off after restarts or on new tires, but boy, when we get into lap 5, 10, 15, he just excels above all of the competition, even the other Toyotas who have strong race cars. The long run speed in this 11 car over the last 3 or 4 weeks has just been tremendous.
That has been the case for Denny Hamlin on a lot of tracks, and we've seen that more so in the next-gen era, having that much extra of an advantage on long run speed. We have seen quite a bit of tire fall off this weekend at Pocono. This track was last repaved before the 2012 Spring-June race. So it's got some wear and tear on it. Of course, the Midwest weather, the winters, it's going to age the track more than a track down south like a South Carolina or anything of that nature.
I feel like now, before you really wanted to slide the spot, and if you missed that, you were in trouble.
It's a really fast corner, so you don't spend much time in it, but you have to carry a lot of speed, and it's really bumpy, brutally aggressive bumps right down there by the apron. And it's not just one.
It's a corner that you have to have the guts to carry at the most speed you can, but also hitting your mark.
Love all the different descriptions, and I love that shot watching the cars go through there. You can really see the bumps. You can also see the cars that I think by choice are running a few feet higher. Seems like you only have to go up maybe 3 or 4 feet, as Bubba was talking about the multiple grooves. Going up a couple feet has made that corner a little smoother.
Talked to a few crew chiefs this morning about how do you manage that part of the racetrack. Do you set the car up to drive through there or drive around it? You know what they all said? Ultimately, we needed to do both, right? Because you have to have those options in this place.
See, Ty Gibbs has passed the 19 of Frisco. He's drove up to the back bumper of Suarez for third. This is the rest of the top 10 cruising through as we look at the bumps in the tunnel turn. Back on board with Ty Gibbs and the Monster Energy onboard camera.
What I was going to say was that Denny Hamlin on the longer runs definitely running down Kyle Larson in the 5 car. It's about a 1 second advantage now for the 5 of Larson, who had strung out to that bigger lead in the first probably 12 to 13 laps of the race. After about that point, the last 5 to 6 laps, Denny Hamlin's been chunking away 2 to 3 tenths of a second faster a lap, and he has gone from a just over 2 second deficit to now about 9 tenths of a second back of our race leader. And next thing is, Denny Hamlin's got the speed to catch Kyle Larson. Can he make the pass? This is a very difficult racetrack to make passes at Pocono. It's primarily a one-groove oval. The draft is going to allow for Denny Hamlin to stay close to the back of the 5 car, especially with the amount of drag that these next-gen cars have. But it's going to be a fun battle when the 11 gets there. It's always fun when the faster car is trying to get by the car that isn't as fast in front of them. Even in an era where it's harder to pass because these cars are so close to one another, it's still going to be very tightly contested, and we know how aggressive Kyle Larson is to get that first win of the season. It's been a long time. Kyle Larson's a guy who likes winning. He hasn't won in the NASCAR Cup Series for race win side of things in over a year now, and sure, he had the championship besting Denny Hamlin last fall, but hasn't had a race win since Kansas in mid-May of last season. Pass for position on the racetrack, Ty Gibbs getting by Daniel Suarez for third, and obviously Gibbs had gotten by Briscoe after the first couple laps. Briscoe was able to best Gibbs for the fourth place position. So Ty Gibbs slowly but surely working forward. His lap time's looking pretty good also. Last time by, he was running similar lap times to that of the leader, Larson, but not quite as fast as Hamlin. Now that he's gotten out from the dirty air wake behind Daniel Suarez, we'll see if that'll pick up at all. Side-by-side commercial break on Prime Video with about 10 laps to go in stage number 1. Kyle Larson, the race leader. Denny Hamlin is second with Daniel Suarez third. Ty Gibbs fourth. Chase Briscoe rounding out the top 5 and fifth. Chris Buescher still in sixth with William Byron seventh. Eric Jones eighth. John Hunter Nemechek ninth. Ryan Blaney rounding out the top 10. The 6th through 10th place positions have not changed since the start of this race. So just the one lead change on the opening lap because Hamlin was the pole sitter and Larson has led every lap of this race. Denny Hamlin trying to take his first lead here before long. He's now only about 0.6 of a second behind Larson at last time by at the start-finish line where our stats and leaderboard update every lap. We got almost 100 people concurrently watching in the chat. Be sure to hit the like button if you haven't done so yet. Subscribe for more NASCAR content, live commentary streams like this every NASCAR race weekend for Truck, O'Reilly, and Cup Series racing. Triple header next weekend with the San Diego Street Course race at the Coronado Naval Base in San Diego. Going to be a lot of fun. First street race, obviously, in San Diego. The 4th street race consecutively now on an annual basis for the NASCAR Cup Series in the summer. And against San Diego next week. And we'll be live for that one on the channel all weekend long because the Truck Series will be going on full blast Friday evening. So it's going to be a Friday, Saturday, Sunday show on the channel, streaming all weekend long. Doubleheader on Saturday with Cup practice and qualifying, followed by the O'Reilly race. And then, of course, the Cup race, our main event of the weekend on Sunday. I'll go over the start times when we get closer to the end of this stream for all the stream start times of next weekend, but that is what you have to look forward to right here on the channel. Mini West Coast swing for NASCAR the next couple weeks, both on road courses as well, between the San Diego Street Race and then Sonoma the following week after that. It was announced that it is another sellout crowd next weekend as well for San Diego, so that will be the 5th consecutive NASCAR Cup Series race date that will be sold out. Great to see the fans. Full affair at the racetrack. And really having great crowds all the way through the weekend. The O'Reilly race yesterday looked very full on the front stretch. Michigan truck race the week before that had a lot of fans sardine in that main center of the front stretch grandstands as well. They had sections that were blocked off that you couldn't get tickets for at Michigan, but the main sections they had it was packed. So hopefully we can keep that trend going. It's been a lot of fun to see a lot of people at the track every week.
We came back from side in the advantage.
2 seconds. And now we go on board with Denny Hamlin, and he is right there with the 5 coming off the corner.
Yeah, Larson's balance starting to become a challenge for him as Denny Hamlin's car continues to handle the way he needs it. Right here through the tunnel, though, Denny can't seem to look there. He gets tight right there. That's the part that he wishes he could do better when he goes over there those bumps. The 5 can get to the throttle sooner and kind of get away just a little bit before they get to turn 3 here.
I really want to see this top speed on the 11 as he runs the top lane. He's going to gas it up. We saw about 190 by itself. I think this car is very draggy. Watch what the draft does right here. I imagine the last third of this straightaway, we're going to climb right through 190. I bet we could see 200. Let's see what kind of run he has. 195, so higher than he was by himself, but maybe just wasn't close enough or a little bit too old on tires as he's searching around as well. I will say with 6 to go in this stage, it's going to be interesting to see what happens, right? Well, wait a minute. We got a lap car right here in front of the 5. That could become a challenge for this 5 car. This could present an opportunity
for Denny. The 5's tight, aero balance. If he has to get in the wake of this lap car down here in turn 3, that's Casey Mears in the 62. That might present the 11 an opportunity to get side by side with Larson. Let's see what happens. Larson's got to go to the top of the track to stay out of the dirty air of the 62. Denny's going to go to the bottom. Now the 62 is going to slow down to 5. Here we are, side by side for the lead.
Wow.
Listen to the crowd. Here. They're just going to clear.
Denny Hamlin's back to the lead. Stay back to the lead. Started on the pole. He's leading for the first time today after Larson got the early advantage. 11 on point, getting it done late in the stage.
Larson just doesn't have the turn he needs to kind of take the fight back to him there on the inside of turn 1. Jim.
Here's a 48 of Alex Bowman. They were right at the threshold of being able to fit on your screen. A little more than 15 seconds back from the leader. Brakes feel a little soft. Team isn't concerned. Thinks they'll be good once it heats up. They did air pressure adjustment on that stop.
So Kim was talking about that 15 seconds. So as we see the leaders through turn 3, the 48 is going to be leaving pit road. We see right now crew chief of the 5. I saw a hand out the window. The 5 might be pitting. If not this time, I do believe he's going to pit. Let's just see how far the 48 comes out in front of these leaders. Now, the concern is, even though the 48 has new tires, these old tires don't slip down a whole lot. So he's going to have to stay in front of these leaders for these final 4 laps. I would be shocked if Hamlin doesn't take the 10 points for winning the stage. But I've been shocked before. The whole top 10 are going to have to make a decision.
We're going to laugh under that.
Now on pit road, so he showed his hand. He's going to come down, service of his team, Trevor.
Yeah, Tyler Reddick made up 7 spots early on that first restart, but then faded back a couple of those Legacy Motor Club cars. He's been fighting a tight balance as well today. You see 4 tires and fuel on this 45 to jump the stage.
All right, risk versus reward. So if you're Chris Gale right now, and you're a crew chief of the 11, you know you want those 10 points, but everybody that's been on pit road will not pit at the end of the stage. So every one of these cars are a position you're going to lose. How much do you dare give up? And if you're the 5, or the 54, or the 19 that are also running inside the top 5, how important are points to you at this point in the season? We're going to see top of your screen, upper right, we saw the bright yellow 2 of Cindric come to pit road, Blaney on pit road. There's Blaney in that 12, the Ryan Newman car. Kim.
Yeah, for Blaney, it's definitely tight here. Mostly in traffic. Neutral, though, through the tunnel, which is a good sign for him.
Two of Sean Hunter Nemechek, fighting a little bit free off of turn 3 on that right rear. A little bit too hard. We know how long that corner is and how easy it is to break these next-gen cars loose, Kim.
You see the racing right here between Byron and the 43. The leader will close pit road this time by, which means that he'll have the opportunity to pit if he so chooses. He stayed. All right, there you go. Stayed on the racetrack. So pit road's closed. So everybody who has pitted, that's it. That's everyone else. Now it's just a battle for points. So this position you see right now between Byron, Jones, Suarez, every position's a point.
Well, think too. I mean, I just go right there, 7th, 8th, and 9th in the running order, and where they are when you think about the chase standings. You know, Jones with that runner-up finish last week, only 18 below the cut line. Logano only a few points out. Byron's been bouncing around 10th, 11th, 12th. They all need them, and they're all going to get some here. And Hamlin in position to win the stage and get 10 more after coming in 51 points behind Tyler Reddick. One to go on the stage, presented by Credit One Bank. Hamlin, 2 seconds in front of Kyle Larson.
Last couple of laps, he's been almost 6 tenths faster than Larson, 6 tenths faster than his teammate Ty Gibbs. Denny running 54 flats. The rest of the field, 54 sevens and slower. Chris Buescher back there with a 54.5, the only car really within half a second of Denny Hamlin right now. A half a second. It's amazing how fast this 11 car is. Deep into these runs, we see it every single week. This is the big advantage that this number 11 has, and they seem to get better with every stage. Yeah, they know how to stay in front of the adjustments. You called it perfectly. He was so patient. Let that Casey Mears lap car kind of check up the 5. Capitalized.
The points are piling up for Denny Hamlin. This is his 5th stage win. of 2026. That leads all drivers. Larson, who came in scoring more stage points than anyone on the season, finishes second. And a whole host of drivers behind him that need points. Ty Gibbs, top 5. Briscoe needs points. He gets 7 here. We talk about Busher. Suarez in 6th. He's been getting a bunch of stage points in recent weeks. Talked about Byron, Jones, Logano, and a great run for Austin Hill in the 33. Takes advantage of the strategy of others and finishes inside the top 10 in stage 1. Hamlin in charge. Here is Pocono. Wagner Woodson, NASCAR on Pride.
Denny Hamlin, stage 1 winner here today at Pocono, with Kyle Larson second, Ty Gibbs third, Chase Briscoe fourth, and Chris Buescher rounding out the top 5 in fifth. 6th was Daniel Suarez. 7th was William Byron, with Eric Jones in 8th, Joey Logano 9th, and Austin Hill rounding out the top 10. Mix of drivers staying out to get those stage points versus drivers who did not get the stage points and are choosing to pit during the stage caution instead. We'll have to see how everything is going to shape up with who will be the leader when we get to this next restart. And I wonder if there's going to be a possibility anybody stays out during the stage break. I don't think that will be the case, considering they're not going to be able to stay out, pit early in the stage, and still be in the fuel window to make it for 65 laps. In stage 2, I figure we're going to have 5 to 6 laps of caution. It's still 59 to 60 laps. I mean, they're going to have to take it quite a ways. Maybe 40 at max you could probably run, or right around there for green flag laps. That would still leave just around 45 to 50 to go in the next stage. It'd be quite the push. We haven't seen a whole lot of tire fall off here today. We were having a lot more tire fall off in the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series race yesterday compared to the Cup race today. In this Cup race, I was looking at Denny Hamlin's lap times. That last lap he ran at the end of stage number 1 was a 54.152. His fastest lap was a 53.443, so only about 7/10 of a second of fall off. Kyle Larson had a little bit more than that, but that's because he had a faster start by about 2/10 of a second, has the fastest lap of the race. So his tires faded just a little bit more over the course of the long run, being that much quicker and getting out to that lead. He's going to have to try to manage that a little bit better. If he does get track position, it could get the lead on a restart again later on. All a learning game, though. It's only the first 30 laps, and stage 1 is just concluded. I'm sure these drivers and teams are going to make the necessary adjustments from both behind the wheel and setup-wise to set themselves up for the finish. Least favorite to a fan favorite for Denny Hamlin. Evidently, his personal family tragedy and not winning the championship made him popular. Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it right there. I'd say also a combination of he is older. We don't know how many more years we have left of Denny Hamlin, and I think he's getting a good send-off in that way also. It's a culmination of everything that has been listed. All right. So we are going to work our way into our stage 1 pit stops.
A national race, getting out of debt is easier when you have all of us. Thank you. Casey Mears had fallen behind, but he's back on the lead lap now.
Casey was involved in the lead change as a lap car going a lap down. Doesn't have a lot of experience in the next gen. On the bottom of the racetrack in turn 3 and 4, and he drives up off the racetrack, he drives up off the corner to the outside line, traditionally like you would, right? But he wouldn't know that that's going to drastically affect the handling on the 5 cars. He goes in front of Larson, and Larson becomes a car in his wake, and Larson wasn't able to finish the throttle on corner exit, had to get out of the gas actually, and that allowed Denny to make that run and make the pass.
So many small, subtle things go into your success over the course of the day. And remind everyone, when we come down to pit road here, the 5 of Kyle Larson had some inspection issues. So he got his pit stall assigned, right? So this right here is the 5's pit box, right? And in front of him is the 51. So he didn't get to pick this stall because he had those inspection issues. He's now pitting behind the 51. Why this matters is the 51 is nearly the last car in the lead lap. So he should be coming around the 5 at about the time the 5 is leading. So crew chief for the 5, Cliff Daniels. You talk about the small little nuances. Cliff looking over to the pit box of the 51. So we're very close. Me leaving. Can I go? Are you going to free clear me? Yup, he gets kind of a clear. So now he knows. We saw that right with the 54 just a week or two ago. Leaving pit road, having contact. Now Larson knows if it's the 51 coming in, he's already like pre-cleared the airspace. He knows the 51's going to check up and allow the 5 to leave. 2 Chevrolets working together. The leadership by Cliff Daniels making sure every stone is turned over, leaving nothing to risk.
We said it off the top. Devil's in the details. Got to do all the little things. They're heading your way, Kim.
That's right. Ty Gibbs will pit from P3. The last couple laps on the green. Crew chief Tyler Allen telling him, not going to catch the leader, so save some stop. They're going to take 4, go in the jack. The balance pretty good. Just got a little free there at the end, Trevor.
And Kyle Larson coming into his stall, lost that lead from a tight race car. They're going to make some changes for the tunnel turn. Ride quality freight on this car. Kyle Larson asking what color car to look for as the step 51 comes around to Marty.
Stage 1 from Chase Briscoe is said he was 2-3 on the exit of 1. That's where he really moved the line. Trademark 11 team in that stage. Denny Hamlin said, I started a little bit too free, but I did super like our car at the very end of that run.
One driver completely missing inside the top 5. A car I thought did a nice job of saving gas. Was put in the right position. Was the 54 of Ty Gibbs. Watch the right side. Pretty clean. Bobble on the right rear jack drop. No dice. The car must be in the air for the wheel to be tight. They come back, they tighten up the right rear. At this point, damage is done. So they actually go back and make an adjustment knowing they're going to be in traffic. It's like a long stop for Ty Gibbs.
Jack dropping a little bit too early for the 54 of Ty Gibbs. Went on the right side of the race car. This pit crew couldn't get the right rear tire off. And or I should say, couldn't get the right rear tire secured tightly. So they had to go back around, jack it up. A lot of time lost for Ty Gibbs. He was 3rd place at the end of stage number 1. Unfortunately, with this issue, he is going to be buried deep in the field. Have to wait to see exactly how deep. Once they get back to the start-finish line the next time by, we'll see who the leader is going to be. And we did have a few drivers stay out that had pitted before the end of the last stage. I know Alex Bowman, Tyler Reddick amongst those that would have stayed out because they pitted late in stage 1 while we were still under green flag conditions. They were close enough to the race leaders, Hamlin and Larson, at the time that they were not going to risk going a lap down. They pitted with about 5 or 6 laps to go in the stage. And you have until 2 laps to go when the race leader gets to the start-finish line to get those stage points. So Denny Hamlin, stage 1 winner after starting on the pole. Kyle Larson, who has led the most laps today, finishes 2nd in the first stage. Few lead changes now. Pete Creamer, MC Antihero, Billy Kramer, Regine Huddleston, Leon Agro, thanks for tuning in as well. You could still vote for who you think is going to win today's race in our chat poll. Again, that will remain open until the end of stage 2. 74 votes have now been casted. Kyle Larson, the favorite to win today's race at 32%. 24% of you taking Denny Hamlin. And 12% having Tyler Reddick for the win. 31% of you have somebody other than those 3 for the race victory. We shall see. Hamlin was my pick, stage 1 winner. John Hunter Nemechek going to be the leader, as he is first in the running order of those that pitted prior to the end of stage 1. Denny Hamlin, who won the race off pit road and won the first stage, is going to restart in 7, so the top 6 cars stayed out. Only 6 cars had pitted from about that top 15 or so before the end of the first stage to try to leapfrog the field. We'll see what they can do with track position. So John Hunter Nemechek, the leader on the restart. Tyler Reddick 2nd. Zane Smith 3rd. Ryan Blaney 4th. Austin Cindric will be 5th, with Alex Bowman 6th. He'll be the last of those on the slightly older tires, about 5 to 6 laps worth of older tires for green flag laps. Denny Hamlin, first off pit road, will be 7th, and Kyle Larson 8th, Chase Briscoe 9th. William Byron rounds out the top 10 with Eric Jones and Daniel Suarez 11th and 12th. So the 6 that stayed out, the first 6 in the race off of pit lane. Very fast opening stage of only 30 laps at Pocono. First caution of the day. Now remember, Keegan, this is me, Mark DeMars. I keep forgetting. It's hard to remember things like that. I'm sorry. Appreciate it, Mark. I wish there was a way for me to like edit it so I can remember. Pick is Chris Buescher. Not a bad pick. He's probably going to be of the best Fords today. He was in stage 1. 5th at the end of the first stage for Chris Buescher. Started 6th.
To be able to do this. So you're going to see guys like Reddick, guys like Ryan Blaney and Zane Smith to then retain that track position, to get themselves some stage points here in stage 2. I love the move of flipping the stage here.
Reddick wants to get some of those stage points here to keep that battle tight in points with Denny Hamlin. Our guy, Brad Keselowski, guest analyst this week, coming back for the post-race show. He started tail end Charlie. He's making up a lot of ground in that number 6 Ford. Finished stage 1 24th, now running 29th. Let's send it back upstairs to the booth for the start of stage 2 with Adam Alexander.
All right, thank you, Danielle. And you guys talked about those drivers flipping the stage. So the race off pit road, sponsored by Goodyear, was actually for 7th in the running order. Denny Hamlin going to choose the outside lane here. And on the front row, it's going to be John Hunter, Nemechek, Tyler Reddick. Opportunity for the 45 maybe to take some charge of this field.
Remember, we talked spot 23 earlier today, and you talked about how difficult it was to slot down into turn 1. Well, now those cars like the 5 and 11, they're going to be right in the mess.
All right, here we go. Crowd back on their feet for our first restart of the race, and it will be Tyler Reddick, John Hunter Nemechek in the front row this time. John Hunter Nemechek, the control car, will take the inside of row number 1. Interesting call. And we'll see how it works. Back to racing. Couple cars already fanning out to 3 wide. Now 4 wide entering the first turn. A little bit of a log jam on the high side. About 10 rows back or so. I don't think there was any severe contact that was made back there, and everybody's going to funnel off of turn 1. Good enough that there was no crash. Drag race for turn 2 between Reddick and Nemechek, the 2 Toyota Camrys that lead the field now. Both in the battle for clean air supremacy. And down into turn 3, still nose to nose. Nemechek still on the inside, and Reddick still up high. Reddick going to carry a little bit more momentum off the exit of turn 3, but Nemechek side drafting all the way down the front stretch. Reddick chases Nemechek down the racetrack as John Hunter tried to pull away from Tyler. Better arc into turn 1 for Tyler Reddick. We'll see how it works for him, but Nemechek standing in the throttle, mid-corner, trying to get the car to stick off the exit. Still side by side for now. Zane Smith, the 3rd place car, is creeping in on these top 2. Who's he going to go with to try to bump draft and push forward? Smith going to try to back up turn 2. Ryan Blaney in the 12 car also trying to close. Great drive off by Zane Smith. He did a fantastic job backing up turn 2. He now carries momentum in the draft. Goes to the bottom. Thought he was going to try to go 3 wide to the inside, but Nemechek blocked him off. Now the momentum is cut off for Zane Smith. And Ryan Blaney is going to get to the outside of his car for 3rd. While Nemechek and Reddick are still side by side, 2 laps into the restart, and they are nose to nose. Nobody has given an inch. Side drafting back and forth. The 42 trying to force the 45 wide. Ryan Blaney clear of the 38 for the 3rd place position into turn number 1. Blaney is barely going to hold clear in front of Zane Smith. Again, Smith had to lift in the dirty air. Denny Hamlin, who won stage 1, is powering back. He's up inside the top 5 again. What an aggressive battle of side drafting going on between the 42 and 45. Tyler Reddick, John Hunter Nemechek. And is a guy like a Ryan Blaney or a Denny Hamlin maybe going to be able to conquer both of them if they can get a good enough run off turn 3? And those two cars ahead stay side by side. There may be an opportunity for it. Tightly contested again off turn 3, and Tyler Reddick is going to be clear. Still loss of momentum for Nemechek. Ryan Blaney's coming. To the inside goes Blaney for second. Hamlin still underneath the 38 of Zane Smith. Can't get clear for fourth yet. Should be able to do so in turn 1. And he does. Hamlin to fourth. Now Blaney and Nemechek battle for second. Blaney slips the rear tires on the inside. Has to lift. Barely keeps it off of both Nemechek and the wall. Nemechek drives through into second. Hamlin with a run going for third. On the inside into turn 2. Goes Denny Hamlin to the inside of Blaney. For position, Hamlin going to drive up the track, forcing Blaney to have to lift, but Blaney doesn't. And Hamlin gave him enough room to make that corner. And they're still side by side for third. So hard to complete the pass here at Pocono. A lot of aggressive, good racing going on in the restart here. Zane Smith going to draft up behind his Ford of Ryan Blaney. Odd man out, Hamlin. No, Zane Smith to the inside. He doesn't draft behind either one. He'll go 3 wide. Hamlin clears the 12. The 38 also going to get by the 12. And Smith stays to the inside of Hamlin for third. Oh, he sits sideways. Keeps it off of Hamlin, but down to the inside wall goes Zane Smith and pounds it. Cautions out. Oh, what a tough break for Zane Smith. He was having a solid day. Up inside the top 5 and spins going for third on Denny Hamlin.
That's tough to see because he's done a job over the last several weeks.
2 weeks in a row, he's crashed in the top 10.
Trying to get to where they could run in the top 10 on a regular basis, and here you see it up the track, just got a little bit loose. He did a great job actually keeping the car out of the door of the 11. There was a loose moment. He corrected up the track, and that could have taken Denny with him. But he did a great job. Kind of sacrificed himself a little bit to not wreck the 11. Yeah, that could have looked a little bit like the 9 and the 20 last week, right? There was that big wiggle from the 38. Watch this. Watch how close this is. You're absolutely right, Bill. I think the 38 had a chance of not wrecking, but it would have cost the 11 and probably the 38. I got you. His own car down.
Second caution of the day. First for an incident on track. You know, Zane, I mean, we talked about how good they've been running lately. Those top 10s, back-to-back weeks. He was running great last week at Michigan when he had a tire issue after scoring some stage points. And here today, right in the front part of the pack, doing everything he needed to do, and it got away from it.
And we've had some reports from down in the pits, drivers talking about the seams and some of the sealer that they put inside the seams. I'd be curious if we get a chance to talk to Zane at the Infield Care Center if any of that was an issue of losing grip in the car as you drive out of turn 2. You cross over a lot of these areas of the racetrack where they filled these cracks in. See some of those? See that running parallel with the wall? Well, there's also seams going left and right as well through turns 2. So they're all over the racetrack. There's a great look at it right here. This is turn 1. And so as he's going across these, you can see how this stuff's peeling up. Well, the race car can shatter the tires, slide the tires running across some of those things. And that might have been a part of the reason why he lost a little bit of grip there, lost the rear grip of the race car and spun out.
And that's always been kind of the signature of that corner is spinning late exit. You know what? You know, the seams are some, the banking, the content, maybe just give a little bit of wheel in at the middle. We've seen, when he was spinning, there was 8 or 10 other tire tracks ended up in the same location.
Popular place always seems to deliver some highlights. Salty drivers coming down pit road. We'll update the situation there. Pushing out for a second time here at Pocono.
Second caution of the race. First for incident, Zane Smith, tough break. Back-to-back top 10 finishes for him at Charlotte in the Coke 600 in Nashville the following week. 2 weeks later, running top 10 at both Michigan and Pocono. Unfortunately, taken out in an incident where he just loses control of the car, spins, maybe trying to get a little bit more out of the race car in both circumstances and having those slightly over-aggressive mistakes. And You just wonder where that team could be at. I mean, in points, he was 18th in the standings before the DNF at Michigan last week, while running in the top 10 today, in the top 5, battling Hamlin for third. And unfortunate issue there for Zane Smith. Started up in the top dozen, too. I think he was running 12th on speed there in stage 1, so he could have had a good day going for him. And maybe capitalize on getting some stage points in the second stage with the field flipping strategy they did. And just unfortunate not going to see that play out for him. Top 5 in the running order has Tyler Reddick in the lead, John Hunter Nemechek second, Denny Hamlin third, Ryan Blaney fourth, and William Byron currently rounding out the top 5. 4 lead changes so far. Tyler Reddick just won the race for the lead with Nemechek about a half a lap before that spin by Zane Smith. And the caution, of course, coinciding with that. 12 laps into the second stage. Lap 42 of 160 here today at Pocono. You're listening live on KRC. Our full flag-to-flag coverage continues. Brody Stanfield, thanks for tuning in. Chastain up to 15th. Good to see. Craig Farnsworth, welcome to the stream. SVG. Hasn't been doing as good today. Qualified 31st, started at the back. And he has worked his way up to 21st. It's been a slow, methodical climb for the 97 so far. But yeah, Chastain looking good after starting 24th. Kind of a slow climb for him through the field as well. And he actually just ran his fastest lap at lap 40 on the last restart. So that's a good sign for any Chastain fans out there, hoping that the Watermelon Man could get a good finish today. Carson Hocevar started in the mid-20s. He's already up to 12th. And he also ran his fastest lap in stage 2 at lap 39 with a 54.228. That's a really good lap in traffic. Kyle Larson still has the fastest lap of the race overall with a 53.272. Bonus point is awarded to the fastest lap of the race when we do get there. Larson currently in 8th after finishing 2nd in stage 1. And Chase Elliott, who also started deep in the field, is up to 7th. Started 23rd. Was 30th in practice yesterday. Saturday, a not-so-good day in Pocono for Chase Elliott, but maybe Sunday looking a little bit better after he had a lot of speed at Michigan last week. Led a bunch of laps, won a stage, crashed running in a battle for 2nd in that final segment.
Matabo HPT tools. Matabo HPT. Move. And now we hear from drivers talking about the role of spotters at Pocono.
And a ton of credit. It is not an easy place. The exit of turn 3 and entry of turn 1 are difficult for them.
It is very tricky. So you do rely on him, but it's 100% false information into him. You know you're going to be 3 or 4 wide pretty much every restart. So you got to rely on that spotter to tell you where the cars are, where to get pushes, and what holes you can actually hit.
They're a huge part of what we do here at Pocono, and you better have a good one up on the roof.
I thought Freddie Kraft was great on NASCAR Live talking about what spotters deal with here and how you manage the field as they go around the various parts of this racetrack can be very tricky.
Yeah, Freddie gave us some honest answers about some of the things we were curious about, and told me something I thought was interesting, how they get more aggressive with their calls as the race goes on, having to tighten it up a little bit when it matters.
Already on the spotter stand for Bubba Wallace, one of a handful of drivers came down, made a pit stop lap 42. Those guys restarted.
Pace car headed for pit road, and it will be another restart of John Hunter Nemechek and Tyler Reddick on the front row again. Denny Hamlin, though, who won stage 1 up to the outside of road number 2, and he will push the 2311 Toyota of Reddick forward. Great restart by Reddick. Nemechek lagging behind on that inside line. That will hold Ryan Blaney and Chase Briscoe back a bit as well. Nemechek trying to fire back up the inside. He battled side by side with Tyler Reddick for the better part of about 2.5 laps before Reddick could clear on the last restart. But this restart, they will not even be side by side off turn 1. Tyler Reddick is out ahead. Big block down the Long Pond straightaway, a little bit further back outside of the top 10. Aggressive battle for position. Tough to tell who those cars were. Still out of 2 and 3 wide racing through the tunnel turn, but they'll get through there unscathed. And the top 5 in the running order, first lap after the restart as they come for the start-finish line, has Tyler Reddick back in the lead. John Hunter Nemechek did have the sole second place position. Denny Hamlin still in 3rd. Byron up a spot, passing Ryan Blaney for 4th. Blaney back to 5th. Nemechek pulling out a line, trying to break the draft a bit on Denny Hamlin towards the end of the main front stretch, headed down for turn one. Longest straightaway in NASCAR is the main front stretch here at Pocono Raceway. That's on any road course or oval on the circuit. 3 long straightaways at Pocono. That just happens to be the longest of which. The Long Pond straightaway, still some of the longest straightaway in NASCAR between turns 1 and 2. A lot of traditional intermediate tracks don't have straightaways as long as even that one. It's not even the longest straightaway on the track. A lot of side-by-side battling still in the middle of the pack. It is an absolute hornet's nest. 3 wide, one car bouncing off the wall and down the racetrack, clipping another. Cody Ware, Bubba Wallace, Brad Keselowski all around. Might have had another car or two collected as well.
Right into the inside of Josh Berry, and they go way up the racetrack. And they continue to sort of argue for that position off of the corner. And the 21 runs out of racetrack.
Connor Zilic involved again. Shane Van Gisbergen. Heavy damage for the 6 of Keselowski, who slammed into Bubba Wallace's race cars. They both zigged and zagged across the front stretch, trying to miss the spinning race cars in front of them.
I thought it create a stack up, but this was a very late developing accident. You know, they got stacks up. Here you go. So there's the SVG in the 21. So they're 3 wide, and the 33 is also, I'm not sure the 33 knows he's 3 wide or doesn't have the ability to stay down a lane. I would love to hear what the 33's hearing, because right there, you know, he's running it like there's 1 car to his outside, not 2.
Joey Logano got a piece of it also.
You know, a few of those cars involved there, the ones that had just come down to make a pit stop, lost all that track position trying to play a little game of strategy, and you get caught in the middle of this.
Yeah, that started into 3, though. I'm kind of curious as to if... Here we are. 33 is back here. Now, watch the 97 and the 21 here. So the 97 runs the 21 up the racetrack. Here comes 33's just kind of coming through like he's... But he does run them a little higher. But that argument, that disagreement started way back in turn 3 on the entrance there. Stay down. These cars traditionally don't get loose from running side by side. Like the 97 gets in the corner and there was just a little contact. My mind thinks, okay, from history, it's like SVG got loose underneath the 21. But I think they just got in there racing hard and some contact was made and they go up the racetrack and 33 gets in there and they're 3 wide, not enough room. So I was wondering if the 33 knew he was 3 wide. Well, he knew it because he was the one who made it 3 wide. Just listen to the spot.
They're 20 out there, quarter.
Austin Hill is a number of races in this car and the communication on the roof and what all he's dealing with. And I thought it was clear communication of that he was clear of the 20. And then I heard door and quarter, which tells me the 2 cars you just drove up next to are there. So I feel like Austin, because I questioned if he knew. I think Austin knew how many were out there, but maybe his car wouldn't allow it. They just kind of they know if you lift right there, you know, it's easy to say, but if you check up at that spot, you lose 5 spots. I mean, you're in the exit of turn 3 before the longest straightaway.
Well, that was a great view. That Cheddar's onboard camera. As Austin Hill got aggressive coming off the turn. And I think about, too, the points implications here. Because Shane Van Gisbergen, who won that race at Watkins Glen, had worked his way into the top 16, was in a pretty good spot. He's involved here. Joey Logano, who's had some productive weeks recently, was only 3 points below the chase cut line. He got some damage there. And now pit road is open. Let's go to Trevor.
45 with Tyler Reddick leading the race, comes down pit road. The call from Billy Scott is going to be to put 2 tires and fuel in this car. Tyler also saying it's a little bit loose and the bumps make it very itchy.
Trevor, 47 to go here in stage 2. This is 1 minute. Still makes the call for Denny Hamlin to come down pit road, right side tires only. Tight, fuel-wise, Adam, to make it to the end of this stage.
And now we do a little Goodyear race off the pit lane. 13 drivers stay out. Reddick, the best of those that came down the pit lane. When you talk about the exit, third caution of the afternoon.
Back-to-back incidents early in stage 2, yielding a couple of cautions. Our first incidents of the day. Lap 48 of 160 is where we're pacing right now at Pocono. A little less than an hour into the race. All the main leaders pitting, a little bit of a 2-tire versus 4-tire strategy. Just a couple of restarts. Really, we had about 5 or 6 green flag laps at best on those sets of tires. Main reason a lot of the field came into the pits right here is because it's going to be very tight on fuel to make it to the end of the second stage from this point. Drivers didn't want to miss that opportunity to be able to pit under caution in case we do go green to the end of stage 2. We've already seen a long green flag run with stage 1 going caution-free, so I wouldn't doubt that we can get another long one here. Quite a few drivers collected in that last incident. When it first happened, it looked like there were only 4 cars involved. After seeing multiple replays, that was not the case. Drivers involved in this crash include Noah Gragson, Brad Keselowski, Josh Berry, Joey Logano, Bubba Wallace, Connor Zillage, Shane Van Gisbergen, and Austin Hill. Not all of those obviously are done for the day. A couple of them will be. And as we look down our leaderboard, since we've ran a couple laps under caution since the crash, we can see that Noah Gragson and Brad Keselowski are out of the race following the crash. Zane Smith also out of the race with the first incident after he was battling Denny Hamlin for third. The restart prior went for a spin out of turn 1. Still on the lead lap and on track are SVG, Joey Logano, Connor Zillage, who were all involved in this last incident, Bubba Wallace. And we'll see what kind of pace they're going to have if they're able to keep their cars on track. Tough spot to be in. Got a couple of drivers like Shane Van Gisbergen, Joey Logano, Bubba Wallace all around the cut line on points. Well, Bubba Wallace is sitting 11th, so not quite as tight to the cut line as, say, a SVG or a Brad Keselowski, Joey Logano are. Keselowski came in 15th in points, and he's out in 36th with no stage points today because he started at the back, was not able to get any stage points in stage 1. Had to start at the rear of the field in 37th after down a cylinder in qualifying yesterday. Wasn't able to complete his lap under full power. Logano, first driver outside the chase cut line spot coming into the race today with just 10 races to go until the chase. After the conclusion of today's event, he is 34th with damage to the right front fender of his race car. SVG 14th in points coming in just on the inside of that cut line as well.
This is giving away an all Gen 6. Scan the QR code to enter.
Gen 6 or Gen 7? They're on the Gen 7, but that was a Gen 6 car that they put on the graphic. I'm confused.
They've added a lap here under caution, so check.
Not everybody came to pit road during that caution. John Hunter Nemechek will reclaim the race lead as he stayed out of the pits alongside Chase Briscoe, Eric Jones, Daniel Suarez, Carson Hocevar, and Ross Chastain. Michael McDowell also stayed out of the pits alongside Austin Dillon, Cole Custer, Ryan Preece, Casey Mears. Tyler Reddick, who won the race out of the pit lane with the right side tire stop, is in 12th. So the top 11 stayed out. 12th on back, pitted, topped off on fuel. They're going to be a little bit closer to making it to the end of the stage, but it's still going to be tight for the drivers who stayed out entirely unless we get a ton of more caution laps in this second stage. Likely not going to make it on fuel, but if they were looking to flip the stage anyway, they can maybe get within the final 10 laps and then pit there, and they would end up right back to where they're running anyway. So that it's kind of the variant strategy, if you will. If you're going for stage points, pit now, you can maybe make it on fuel to the end. But if you're looking to flip it at the end of the stage anyway, you might be pitting a little bit earlier, but could still kind of stay on that strategy by just staying out and keeping track position. Now you're already in front of cars who you would eventually leapfrog anyway. I'm following along with the strategy games at Pocono. This is a track that usually yields a lot of strategies. And we're seeing that again here today. 50 laps complete at a 160 at Pocono Raceway in the Great American Getaway 400 under caution for the third time in today's race. You're listening live on KRC. Frank Powers, thanks for tuning in. JoJo, welcome to the stream. Next 2 weeks, road courses. Yes, street race next weekend at San Diego. Road course the following weekend, Sonoma. And those are the last 2 road course races of the season. So after race 17 of 36 on the year, we're going to be done with road courses. Only 4 of them this year compared to recent years having that 5 to 7 number. And they're all front-loaded this season. I do wish they spaced out the road courses more. Like, I wish that Watkins Glen was still later in the summer versus in the spring when it was on Mother's Day weekend. If we were only to have 4 on the schedule, I do think they should be spaced out. I do think there should be a road course in the Chase personally. So even if they didn't do it end of summer, maybe did it in September like they did a couple years ago, I wouldn't be opposed to that either. But it's kind of strange. It's like we go through the whole schedule and there's not a single road course the last 19 races of the season. But yes, that will be the next couple of weeks. Catherine Nagal, thanks for tuning in. I do not do football. No, this is a NASCAR / motorsports exclusive channel. Gonna rewind it a bit here. Brad Keselowski with an interview outside the infield care center.
Incident. Brad, walk us through what happened. What you know.
Yeah, somebody hit the wall in front of me and it just stacked everybody up. I got through the first wave of the crash and then somebody got into someone else and spun down in front of me and put front end off. I didn't really have a chance to even do anything. So it's unfortunate. I actually feel like we were dialing the car in and pretty decent, just kind of waiting for the race to develop and didn't get a chance to let it develop. So I guess you can kind of see it here. They start spinning the wreck in front of me and I thought I had it cleared and then they're good in that car. So part of it, I guess.
Thanks, Brad.
Brad came in 15th in the Chase standings, now being shown 16th and on the bubble.
Good news is Joey Logano, first driver outside the cut line, was also collected.
Now up to 5th. Third prior to the choose here. And he goes outside lane because he wants to give an assist to his teammate John Nemechek, who will be in control of the field. They are working quite well here today.
We saw this good, solid choice. Take the outside line when you have a teammate that can commit to you. Yesterday in the electron rally race, it worked out really well. But it's not a guarantee you're going to have control of the race. That inside line can have a great start as well.
All right, back to the next restart. Green flag is back in the air again. John Hunter Nemechek and Chase Briscoe on the front row. Remember, the top 11 cars stayed out of the pits. 12th on back on fresher tires. Denny Hamlin, Tyler Reddick going to try to push forward. Nemechek will be clear for the race lead on Briscoe down into turn 1. Eric Jones in the 43. Teammate at Legacy Motor Club to that of Nemechek, battling with Briscoe for second. 4 wide further back in the pack off turn 1. A couple rows of 3 wide around Chase Elliott, Denny Hamlin. And another 3 wide move just inside the top 10. Ross Chastain, the Watermelon Man, with an aggressive move at the front of the field, making multiple passes on both Daniel Suarez and Michael McDowell into turn 2. And now he's got Carson Hocevar in the 77 right in front of him as well. All 3 Spire Motorsports Chevys of the strategy for those that stayed out of the pits during that last caution. 3 wide out of turn 3 where we saw the last incident has Ty Gibbs, Austin Cindric, Ryan Blaney all battling for position. Blaney wins that battle on the high side. He'll have his teammate Cindric trying to draft up behind him. That battle is going on for about 15th. Gibbs trying to come back after a slow pit stop at the end of stage 1. He was 3rd place at the end of the first stage behind Hamlin and Larson. Unfortunately, the jack dropping too early on the right side of the car with that 4-tire stop. He lost a ton of spots, so that's why he's back where he's at. of the first half dozen or so for those that just pitted at least. So strategy-wise, he's at least gained a little bit of track position as he's only a few spots behind the likes of Hamlin and Larson anyway. Hamlin up to 10th place and just put down the fastest lap of the race. At lap 46, which was the last run. A short little run that we had before the caution of 53.21. It's the fastest lap of the race for Denny Hamlin. So proper adjustments made to that 11 car that he was able to put that lap time together because Larson had the fastest lap of the race through the first stage. 11 car was already fast winning stage 1, and he has gotten just a little bit faster. So props to that 11 team all the way around, keeping up with the adjustments and keeping up with the racetrack. Better than anybody else. Now they got to get track position back on this restart. Hendrick Motorsports Chevrolets, Kyle Larson, William Byron in a battle through turn 3. With Larson taking that spot from the 24 car on the inside for 13th. And that would be third in the running order of the cars that have just hit pit road. Got Hunter Nemechek just timed in fastest lap of the race with the clean air at the front of the field, 53.023. That was 0.3 faster than Chase Briscoe that last lap. A lot of speed in that Legacy Motor Club number 42 car here this afternoon. Same for Eric Jones in third, who is still battling with Briscoe for that spot, just up ahead. So the shaking in the running order going on right now. The top 10 has John Hunter Nemechek in the lead, Chase Briscoe second, Eric Jones third, Carson Hocevar fourth, and Ross Chastain in fifth, with Daniel Suarez sixth, Michael McDowell seventh, Chase Elliott eighth, Ryan Preece ninth, and Denny Hamlin rounding out the top 10. Still about 40 laps to go yet in stage number 2. Tight on fuel to the end of the stage for those that just pitted, and everybody that stayed out going to be even tighter. More than likely will still have to pit before the end of this second stage. One of the stories coming into the weekend, Christopher Bell with a broken wrist after a crash at Michigan last weekend is still in the race car, looking to complete all 400 miles and trying to perform well enough that he could still get a good points day week in and week out, even with that injury, so he could qualify for the chase. Remember, top 16 points consistently make it, so he can't rely on having to get a win like in years past. He sits 10th in the standings entering this race. It's a pretty good spot, but if he were to have missed a race or two, he was going to be right around that cut line. It was going to be tough. So Bell powering through it. He has been in the 20th place position, roughly, give or take, all day. He's currently 21st still, but if he were to not race, that would be 20 points left on the table at or about, since it's 1 point per position in the finishing order. Hopefully Bell can continue on and stay in this race and at least finish in the top half of the field is kind of what they're going for, I would assume, based off of how they've started this weekend. Ryan Blaney going to work on Kyle Larson. He's going to get tag team with Ty Gibbs now drafting and pushing the 5 car forward on the Long Pond straightaway into turn 2. Larson well clear of the 12th car, and now the 54 slips to the outside and looking to take the spot away from Blaney as well. Blaney better be careful because Austin Dillon's probably going to give the 54 a shove on the front stretch if Blaney is not able to hop in line either in front or behind Gibbs. All the way to the curbing was Blaney through turn 3, a low exit trying to stay away from the 54. Didn't want Gibbs side drafting him at all. Blaney barely squeezing in line in front of Austin Dillon. Dillon swings to the bottom, trying to get past Ryan Blaney through turn 1. Not going to be able to do it, so job well done by Blaney getting to the outside behind Gibbs, sacrificing that extra position to not lose another spot or two. And Blaney then carries the momentum out of turn 1 on the high side and back in that draft. These cars just have so much drag, and the draft effects are so high at Pocono as it is. You're down on the bottom lane, you have 1 corner to complete a pass, because the longer you're down on the inside, the more running side by side slows both cars down and allows for that long line of cars that is going to be running the high side on the straightaway to catch up in the draft. You got no drafting help, and it's a lot harder to not only get that position back, but prevent yourself from losing far more spots. The gap between first and second, 0.8 of a second between Nemechek and Briscoe. 1.3 seconds, Derek Jones in third. Carson Hocevar, 2.9 seconds back and fourth, and 3.6 seconds is the difference to Ross Chastain in fifth. So that's the top 5 in the running order. 5 lead changes, 13 laps of yellow, 2 cautions for incident, both in Stage 2. Stage 1 caution free. Our laps 60 of 160 this time by. And we're just over an hour and 12 minutes into this afternoon's race. That is live commentary coverage of today's Great American Getaway 400 at Pocono. We'll take a quick break. Listening live on KRC to our full flag-to-flag coverage. They scheduled them back-to-back. I think the only reason they did is because they're both on the West Coast. Logistically, it makes sense to schedule them back-to-back because San Diego and Sonoma are both in the state of California. So while NASCAR's already out west, they can basically just keep the cars out there for the following race. Ding them up. I'm sure the backup cars are going to be basically the Sonoma cars, so... it makes sense why they're running those 2 tracks back-to-back. They just happen to be road courses.
Check out Prime's exclusive in-race feature, Key Moments, during the broadcast by clicking up on your remote. It's the easiest way to catch up on race highlights and flag changes as they happen. And if you're ever late to NASCAR on Prime, we've got you covered with Rapid Recap, where you can see all key race moments in 2 minutes or less. John Hunter Nemechek celebrated his 29th birthday this week, and he's leading it. You know, Trevor Bain.
Whoops, did not mean to do that.
Having led 21 laps over the last 2 seasons, today he's going to cross to lead lap number 18. What an accomplishment for this young man. I appreciate Travis Mack earlier because it's like cars. They always run right together. Fifth, or right now if it's first and third. Working up the shot, but also relationship with Justin Alexander, the crew chief on the 40. Years ago. I know you guys know the importance of those crew chiefs getting along, Marty.
Trevor checked in with Chris Gale, the crew chief for Denny Hamlin, who's trying to track down Chase Elliott to be the leader of those on that lap 48 pitting strategy. Steve, I asked Chris Gale, I said, pitting at that point, can you make it to the end of the stage? He said, if it goes green, likely not, but I can flip it. And also I can pit with everybody else, and then my stop would be much quicker than everybody else. But Steve, I'm not sure any of these drivers and teams are planning on trying to make it all the way to the end of stage 2. Why would that be?
Well, I believe if you stay out at the end of, and score points at the end of stage 2, I just think you're going to be bypassed by so many cars that fit under green that your chance of winning the race is basically gone. Now, there are cars. I look at Ricky Stenhouse back at 25th. Gilliland at 27th. They topped off, and for them, if they can stay out for stage points, you know, I don't think that's a bad day. They're making something of a day that currently isn't the best, but I think everybody is looking at a green flag pit stop. The question is when? Do you fill it up? How long do you sit there? It'll be interesting to see what they all do. And that's assuming it runs green, right? You still have 32 laps to go. But yellow would throw a kind of a issue to everybody's plan. Larson around the 54 Gibbs. Pretty interested to see that. Gibbs, one of the better cars in the first part of this race. Giving up a spot right there to the 5-car Larson. Larson's not really moving forward as well as, say, Byron, for example. Byron's able to go up there and pass Custer and Priest, moving himself into 11th position. Right behind McDowell to take a spot to get inside of the top 10. Hamlin's moving forward around Reddick in the 8th. So all these cars trying to figure out, you know, Chase just takes a spot away from Suarez here as they're battling side by side.
You remember Suarez, it's really interesting to look at the team makeup in the top 10 right now. And you put an asterisk on everything because, as we've talked, a lot of different strategies out there, and things will continue to settle out as the day goes along.
But Team Spire got all three of their Chevys inside the top 10. Impressive at this stage of the game.
Yeah, Suarez is really the car that's struggling right here. Look at this 9 car fly around the top of the racetrack. Carry that momentum around the 7. They were side by side for probably the last 3 or 4 laps trying to battle for this position, and finally Suarez, I think, gives it up to Chase Elliott. There's Denny Hamlin closing in on all 3 of these cars. Side by side for Byron, he's taking another spot as well. I like this 24 car. How he's been able to get through traffic here, Steve, shows me that this 24's got some good handle. Haven't seen that out of some other cars that I thought would be good today. Larson, they got a little work to do, but the 24, the 9, maybe those guys can get up there and compete once all this cycle, these teams sort of cycle around through their strategies. I agree. The 9 and the 24, the Hendrick camp has closed the gap to the Toyotas, in my opinion, at this point at this racetrack, right? The 9 and the 24 are kind of in the last. So if you look on the left side, look at last pit, right? Look at who is at the front of each number. So Elliott was last on 17, so he's the leader of that group. We have John Hunter kind of on his own situation, which is fine. Briscoe leading that last on lap 33 group. And that's the best way to look at it. You mentioned it, Adam. We'll figure out which game of leapfrog is the best to be on, but you definitely want to be the lead of that group regardless.
Don't put $100 on one guy. Put like 25, 25, 25, 20, spread it out, right? Scan the QR code to shop Logitech G's newest products and hottest deals. Logitech G, the official wheel is set. The NASCAR.
This is the point of the race where it's really easy as a crew chief. You can kind of get a little lost or lose focus on what you need to do while you're trying to guess what others are going to do. As a driver, I just have to be really clear, Dale, right? Am I looking for full pace? Am I looking for save? How's our car driving? We've heard from our pit road reporters that the temperature has cooled the last 5 or 10 degrees over the last 20 or 30 minutes. So all of that's going to affect how these cars handle. Here's the 9 going by Chastain, continue to march through the field. And he finally was able to get to the inside of the 1, down into turn 1, and take the pass away. And now Denny will try to close that gap. The 1's going to get a little, arrow tight or just lose a little bit of performance. It's close to the 9 car, and that should give the 11 of Denny Hamlin an opportunity to strike. Marty.
Bill Jr., we've seen Daniel Suarez lose a couple of spots in the last few laps, battling the handling in the 7 car. Also battling a cool suit that is not working. Listen to the radio.
I can't call my car. Yeah. If it's working, I can't do that.
I don't think it's working. Let's just go ahead and turn that switch off. But remember, your green will go black for a few minutes, or a few seconds, usually.
So, Dale Jr., your weather update, very timely. Yes, it is getting cooler here at Pocono, but even on a cool day, is a cool shirt that's not working a hindrance to a driver?
Yeah, I mean, it's a bit warmer. That's some pretty thick material that those shirts are made out of, and if that fluid's not cooling, it's getting warmer like everything else. So it's adding temperature to your core, and it'll just make for a long day. It might be something he can fix inside the car. If not, it'd be a tough day for him.
When is everybody going to make a pit stop? Nemechek leading here at Pocono.
All right, we'll go through the full field running order here. 69 laps complete out of 160, nearing halfway. John Hunter Nemechek, the race leader, by still 0.8 of a second over Chase Briscoe. Eric Jones in third with Carson Hocevar fourth, and Chase Elliott now up to fifth, rounding out the top 5. Ross Chastain in the 6th place position. 7th is Denny Hamlin with Daniel Suarez 8th, Tyler Reddick 9th, and William Byron rounding out the top 10. Michael McDowell in 11th, Ryan Preece in 12th, Cole Custer 13th, Kyle Larson 14th, and 15th is Ty Gibbs. 16th, Ryan Blaney with Austin Dillon 17th, Austin Cindric 18th, Chris Buescher 19th, Austin Hill 20th. 21st, Christopher Bell, Alex Bowman 22nd, Riley Herbst 23rd, Chris Buescher 24th, 25th, Ricky Stenhouse Jr., Bubba Wallace 26th after the spin, Todd Gillen 27th, Cody Ware 28th, Daniel Dye 29th, and Casey Mears 30th. 31st, Josh Berry and Shane Van Gisbergen in last car in the lead lap at 32nd. Ty Dillon off the lead lap at 33rd. Connor Zilic 34th. Joey Logano on track 2 laps down in 35th. Brad Keselowski out of the race 36th. In for Noah Gragson in 37th. And Zane Smith will finish last at 38th today. So that is the full field running order. 5 lead changes, 3 cautions, 2 for incidents. And John Hunter Nemechek, the race leader. And so far today, Denny Hamlin, who won stage 1, has led for 9 laps. 26 laps led for Nemechek, most in the race. Tyler Reddick has led for 11. 24 laps led for Kyle Larson, are the 4 drivers to have led at least 1 lap in this race. Great day for the 42 that he has had the most laps led so far. Remember, Fantasy League's lock at the end of stage number 2, and there are only 25 laps to go in the second stage, so be sure to get on that if you haven't so far. I'm going to have to put Eric Jones into my lineup. Might have had the wrong legacy car, but he is outrunning Chris Buescher right now, so I'm going to put him in for Chris Buescher at the moment. I didn't have anybody on my team that was collected in that first incident, so just going to have to keep a lookout for it. And head-to-head matchup-wise, everything looking good. Elliott versus Hamlin kind of tight right now. Well, Logano involved in that incident. Got Chris Buescher over him. Eric Jones having a good run. And versus Alex Bowman. Briscoe outrunning Blaney. No Blaney shirt today. I was a little late getting everything together for the stream. And I didn't throw the Blaney shirt on. I've got the hat on. It's a little dark. It's hard to see. I'm still repping Ryan Blaney. That's for sure.
Bar presented by Red Bull. We talked about fuel and basically how you calculate it and what's important. Well, let's talk about miles per gallon. You see just 5 miles per gallon. We expect that to be about average. Around 5 miles per gallon is good fuel here. I believe most of the cars out front here are going to pit under green. And if you go back and look far enough, the 47 of Stenhouse topped off a lap 51. I believe reading the radios that he's going to try to stretch it all the way to the end of the stage. So if we look at the comparison on the burn bar, right, we have just over 5 miles a gallon on the 9 of Chase Elliott, where we're getting almost 6 miles a gallon on Ricky Stenhouse Jr. At 6 miles per gallon, I believe he's going to make it all the way to the end of the stage to get those 10 points. You talk about making something out of a day, right? 10 points for the 47 car who's run most of the day outside the top 20 can be a big difference. When they get on that plane to go home, they're going to see a little bit more reward for their efforts here, Pocono.
A race like this can be the land of opportunity. Chase Elliott trying to take advantage, driving to the inside of Eric Jones. Talked about him, 9. Got a really good race car. And everybody chasing John Hunter Nemechek. He's led 29 laps today. That's the most in his career in a race. Marty? Adam, 1 lap ago, Denny Hamlin came on the radio, very short communication, said, quote, something feels funny. The crew immediately jumped into action. And then Chris Lambert told Denny, listen, if you can buy us 4 more laps, that would really help us to get into our fuel window. Oddly enough, a few more laps before that, his teammate Chase Briscoe, too, said he had a small vibration on the 19th. So we're going to watch this 11.
Yeah, I was watching him after you made that comment, and he drove around the 77 of Hocevar. The lap time on the 11 car, very respectable. 54 flat, comparable to Chase Elliott, so it's not slow by any means. Just maybe feeling a little bit of an oddity on this set of tires. We also heard from driver talking about how the chunks of sealer are coming up out of the racetrack, out of the cracks on this racetrack, particularly down in turn 3 and 4. May have picked up some of that stuff on the tire. It may take a few laps to clean that off or get that away. And all of these guys are trying to get with that fuel window that Marty's talking about. We have 86 to go. We think they go around probably 40 or just over. So they need to run a couple more laps. They know they're going to get yellows at the end of the stage, so they know they can save a little bit there. But I expect pit road will start to get busy. And I don't think everybody's going to come at the same time like we have seen in other areas, but I do think you're going to see a wave, and here you go. First car to hit pit road, the 7 of Suarez, who's just inside the top 5. Behind him, Chastain, the front tires lost up. Be interested to see if he got down to pit road speed, turned to that once, smoked the tires.
The one car, Ross Chastain getting tighter there, no rear bite. He's going to come in and start this pit cycle.
Trevor Daniel Suarez on pit road. He said the car was 2-3 during that run. They're going to wait on fuel. So they're waiting on Ryan Spark to tell him when he can go back out. And we talked about the Hamlin vibration. There's a Cameron Philly bunny in the car, and the 19 saying he had a vibration. Carson Hocevar also said a moment ago, I'm worried about my right front. They too asked him to go a little bit longer to get us to our window.
And watch that pit time, 12 seconds for the 7. Remember, they can do 9-second pit stops pretty easy, but you can only get about 14 gallons of gas in. Some teams need much more than that. The 42 being absolutely one of them. He's going to need nearly a full 20 gallons of Sunoco fuel in pit road. So this could change up the running order just because of the time. Now, for the 42, it's going to seem counterintuitive, but if you're ever going to have a long stop, under green is the time. Because 4 seconds up the straightaway is only back to maybe the 9. Or 4 seconds under yellow could be 20 spots. See if 42 comes this time. I mentioned the 1 locking up the front tires. He was clean green per NASCAR. No penalty on the 1, so nice job by Ross Chastain getting to pit road. 42 stays on the racetrack, but the 19 of Briscoe decides to peel off. Nice, clean pit road entry. We'll see how long this car has to sit on pit road. He was last on pit road in the 33-lap range. So, Marty, I expect the 19 might have to wait on fuel a little bit.
Yes, they are. 4 seconds. They just told him a moment ago. So you see Hocevar coming down for road as well. Get an eyeball on that right front for Hocevar. He's going to be stepping to the handling of the front. Just needs a better track condition, but they are going to wait on fuel here for the defending winner here at Pocono, the 19. Meanwhile, for the 77, Carson Hocevar said, I'm going to 1, 3 through turn 1 for Hocevar.
See that play for the 19? That literally, the tire changer waited on the gas man. Like, we think it's all about changing tires. It was all about the gas man. They didn't want him to unplug any sooner than he needed to. Now we start to see a little bit of a trickle of other cars for the pit road. We have the 48 of Bowman there. Now the leader, the 42 of Nemechek on pit road in front of you, Trevor.
Jean-Pierre Nemechek, those 33 laps led so far. He was really happy with his Toyota early in the run, but later he felt like he slid the right rear, giving us time for 19. They are going to wait on the fuel here, so itself on later.
Once again, you watch the rear tire changer wait on the gas. This is all going to be about gas in the car. So now, clear dawn for the gas man saying he sees the fuel in the vent. They want these cars completely full at this point.
Brothers top 3. Nemechek is out in front of Jones and Briscoe. Briscoe had made the pit stop. Here comes the 19. As the 42 makes his aim.
No surprise here. The 42 needed more fuel than the 19, but did a really good job only losing that much track position, right? 1 position on the racetrack. It might cost him 2 or 3 as the cycle continues. The other legacy car now in front of Trevor.
Especially Alexander is it's 43 Parmere Jones to pit road. They'll be waiting on fuel. Pressure adjustment, getting down to that.
Scheduled green flag pit stops. 16 laps to go, stage 2. The top 3 have peeled off. They all wait on fuel. And now we'll watch as the 43 rejoins the field.
Yeah, this one I think also will go to the 19 car, although it will be closer than the 42. So fire out the pipes as he's on the gas, he's upshifting, but the momentum of the 19 is going to keep it by. But where will the 43 blend with the 42? I think the 42 is going to get him as well with momentum. Let's see. It's going to be close. I think the 42 is going to be behind him. So 43 of Jones leapfrogs his teammate. Once again, though, they were on split strategies. Now they're together. All right, so now these 2 different plans have merged together. Now we can start taking our attention to the top. Elliott leads, Hamlin second, Byron third. I believe this is the race for the win. I like the strategy these guys are on, Elliott, Hamlin, and Byron. I believe these guys should cycle out in front of Briscoe, the 42 and the 43. So who does it better as we're on board with the 16 of Allmendinger, the Celsius on board, Kim?
Yeah, the 16 of AJ Allmendinger, just bad in traffic was the call from him, looking for a little bit more out of that race car.
AJ Allmendinger, top 20 run last week at Michigan. Tremendous anticipation for he and his race team the next couple of weeks as we head to race at Naval Base Coronado, street race next weekend in San Diego, and in 2 weeks' time at Sonoma. Chase Elliott is taking over the race lead. He, Hamlin, Byron, and Reddick all made their last pit stop at lap 48.
Chase been a little bit quicker than Denny for most of this run. That last lap, though, Denny almost a tenth and a half faster. Chase right here. Denny's a second behind this 9 car. You see off the side of the frame there. And then Byron in the 24 back there running equal lap times as well.
Side by side.
As we go break, 14 to go in the thing. It's Pocono.
Go through the full field running order after a little bit of green flag pit stop action. Not everybody who's on the strategy of those that had stayed out during the stage break have pitted yet, but most of them have. And of those at the very front of the field, they did pit during the most recent caution, topped off on fuel. They're trying to make it to the end of the stage without having to pit again and going for points inside the top 10. Chase Elliott is the current race leader with Denny Hamlin 1 second back in second, 4 seconds to third place, William Byron. Tyler Reddick 4.9, now 5 seconds out of the lead in fourth. Michael McDowell's in fifth with Ryan Preece in sixth. They have not yet pitted. They're on the strategy that have to pit yet, if I'm not mistaken. Kyle Larson in seventh, Cole Custer still has to pit in eighth, and then Ryan Blaney in ninth has already pitted before the end of the stage. Ty Gibbs in 10th, Austin Cindric 11th, Chris Buescher in 12th, Austin Hill in 13th, Christopher Bell 14th, Riley Herbst 15th, 16th is Ricky Stenhouse Jr., Todd Gilliland 17th, Bubba Wallace 18th, Cody Ware 19th, and Daniel Dye 20th. Chase Briscoe in 21st just came to pit road moments ago from the second place position. Eric Jones just behind him in 22nd. John Hunter Nemechek, who has led the most laps today, in 23rd. Ross Chastain 24th. Daniel Suarez 25th. Carson Hocevar 26th. Josh Berry 27th. Casey Mears in 28th. Alex Bowman 29th, and Austin Dillon 30th. AJ Allmendinger 31st is the last car in the lead lap. Shane Van Gisbergen with damage from an earlier incident. First car lap down in 32nd. Connor Zilic also involved in that crash in 33rd. Same for Ty Dillon 34th. And Joey Logano now 4 laps down in 35th. 3 cars out of the race, 2 from that crash. Brad Keselowski 36th, Noah Gragson 37th, and a single car incident for Zane Smith on the first incident of the day right around lap 40. Took him out. He will end up with the last place, 38th place finish. 7 lead changes, 3 cautions just over an hour and a half into the race, and we are a little bit past halfway now, lap 83 of 160. 13 laps of yellow. All the cautions we've seen so far in stage 2 of the 2 for incident, and then the caution laps from the lap 30 stage break. Second stage will end at lap 95 in about 11 laps from now. Final stage will be 65 laps in length as well, same distance as stage 2 for today's race. Denny Hamlin, over the mention of me going through the full leaderboard, has gone from about 1 second out of the lead to now 0.2 of a second back. That long run speed continuing to press forward just as he did at the end of stage 1. He's only led 9 laps today, but he did win the opening stage from the pole after losing the lead to Larson on the initial start, losing a little bit of track position on the restart in traffic to that of Chase Elliott. Elliott was the first to get forward enough that when the leaders had pitted in front of him, he was able to get to the lead. But how long is it going to be for with the 11 car closing fast? 10 laps to go this time behind the stage. Byron in third place, also faster than the race leader Elliott that last lap, but only by about a tenth. Denny Hamlin had about a 0.3 of a second pickup the last time by over Chase Elliott, the leader. Battle on track between the Legacy Motor Club Toyotas and the Joe Gibbs Toyota of Chase Briscoe for 21st. Trying to take the lead on their strategy. I mentioned about a couple other drivers who have not yet been to pit road. Michael McDowell is in now. So McDowell able to save, stretch the fuel run a little bit longer. Leaves after a 12.8 second pit stop. Ryan Preece still has yet to be to pit road. Same for Cole Custer. They're running 5th and 7th. And I believe that would be the last 2 cars that have not made a stop at all in stage 2 yet. Done a fantastic job saving when they can. Denny Hamlin, wider line through turn 1, trying to get clean air on the nose. Slightly better run off the exit of the corner. That's straight line exit speed. Now carrying the draft down the Long Pond straightaway and headed for turn 2. Aerial shot of the battle for the lead between Elliott and Hamlin. You can see how much the closing rate is for the 11 car, trailing in the draft down these long straightaways. He's got about a 2.5 car length deficit. If he can get off turn 3 this time, he might have a shot to pass Elliott in turn 1. Hamlin drives the entry in much deeper than Elliott. Elliott tried to take his line away up high. Hamlin went down to the yellow line on the bottom of the track, and he's all over the back of Chase Elliott now as they cross the start-finish line on the front stretch. Hamlin closing end of that front straightaway, looking to the inside into turn 1, takes the peak, takes the run. Elliott going to give him just a little bit of space. Elliott up the groove, out of the way. Hamlin to the lead as Elliott misses the corner. And we have our 8th lead change of the day, and the second different time that Denny Hamlin is out in front late in the stage, might I add. Long run speed in the 11 car. It's going to be tough for Chase Elliott to get him back. At this point, I think you just save enough fuel, try to hold on for second if you're Chase Elliott. You got a 4-second gap back to William Byron, although Byron's been outpacing him by a bit. Nowhere near to the extent that Hamlin was able to, and he's got a bigger gap back to him with only 7 laps to go now in stage 2, so hang on for second place if you're Chase Elliott. Utilize that draft off Hamlin. Could save a little bit more down the straightaway with not having to run in the open air. Ryan Preece finally pits.
Wait on the fuel as well. 4 tires for Ryan Preece.
So let's see what they do when they let the jack down. They do. They don't really wait much. That right there. Let's go with the Trimble onboard camera. Ryan Preece looking back at the driver. So to Trevor's point about waiting on fuel, there is also the idea that you have tire changer run around the gas man. That's also like theory, a different play. Like these teams have maybe 3 or 4 plays that look normal, but there's some nuance about who's priority at the back of the field. And that kind of shit.
Colt Custer was the last car in the top 10 who also had to pitted the same lap as Ryan Preece, so nobody else will be making a green flag pit stop more than likely. Well, I stand corrected. Kyle Larson's going to short pit to try to flip the stage, I would think, as he was in the 6th place position. Now Larson's on pit road. Austin Hill coming in as well.
Let's see, this right here might be everything the 11 and the 9 need to say. You see the 5 waiting a little bit on gas. The 11 of Denny Hamlin, the 9 of Chase Elliott, both have come into pit road. The 9 has a little bit of a judge.
Yep, Hamlin and Elliott down into the pits next.
Denny Hamlin did a really nice job for him. Changers, Kim, this should be. Don't get the gas in the car.
Chase Elliott's pit crew has been one of the best all. See the colors being down. That's the pick this time. Put the entire.
Okay, nothing from Denny Hamlin. Something feels funny. Kenneth Purcell, the floor will get to nod. And then, lead over Chase Elliott on pit road.
And on the racetrack, the legacy cars, including Chase Briscoe, use those fresher tires to absolutely jump in front of these guys. So the pit stops.
All right, so there you have it. Denny Hamlin, Chase Elliott onto pit road. Same for the couple cars running just behind them, William Byron, Tyler Reddick. So each of the top 4 came to the pits. Ryan Blaney, who was in fifth, stays out. He is still the leader. Ty Gibbs is now in second. And the deficit to Gibbs is 1.5 seconds behind Ryan Blaney. Cindric, last time by at the line, just behind him. But it looks like Blaney and Gibbs will come to pit road, and Cindric will take the lead. Yeah, who's not going to pit? Who's going to take some points here? I could see Christopher Bell staying out, taking points. Maybe Austin Cindric. Cindric will probably stay out. He had only a 3-point cushion on the final chase spot coming into the day over Joey Logano. But then Logano had his problems, and he is running now 35th, multiple laps down. Cindric can take advantage of this and win the stage, but surprisingly, Cindric will pit too. And here comes Bell behind him.
Here's Kip Good.
And we'll watch Austin Cindric stop. That problem may will take a 50 piece at such speed that's fuel.
From the down now, remember, this really run from about 15th to 25th all day long. So we'll see the strategy. It's 20 bar. Need to gain the difference.
Take the running.
All right, so Bell and Cinder come in, and now Todd Gilliland is the leader with 3 laps to go in the stage. Pit road is going to close when the race leader gets to the start-finish line this time by, so curious to see who that's going to be. Chase Briscoe is in second. He pitted just 15 laps ago. I'd imagine he's going to stay out unless he goes maybe fuel only. No, Briscoe does not pit. He can't because Todd Gilliland stayed out anyway. I don't think they were going to come to the pit lane. So Todd Gilliland, really the only car, him and Stenhouse are the only two in the top 10 that would have pitted under green far earlier in the stage, because they have not pitted in 42 laps. And actually, I think they would have pitted during the second to last caution, so not the most recent yellow, but the first caution we had in the stage, which would have been the Zane Smith crash. And those are the only two that are looking to get some stage points by staying on the racetrack, saving enough gas. And as for Todd Gilliland, he's got enough of a gap over Briscoe. He should be able to hold on. Next question is does he have enough fuel? Not only to get to the green, white, checkered flag, but also the couple caution laps before pit road opens to make this all worth it. Pretty solid for the Front Row Motorsport Ford to get a stage win here at Pocono. Briscoe about 7/10 faster that last lap. He's a 1.5 behind Gilliland exiting turn 1, so he's definitely not going to have enough time mathematically to get there. Gilliland trailing behind a lap car as well, keeping his speed up on the straightaway while saving fuel on top of it. Well, that's a surprise of the day. Todd Gilliland going to win stage 2 at Pocono on fuel mileage. Chase Briscoe is going to end up second with John Hunter Nemechek third. Eric Jones fourth, and Ricky Stenhouse Jr. also on fumes will be in fifth. Ross Chastain with a 6th place finish in the stage. Carson Hocevar 7th, Daniel Suarez 8th, Denny Hamlin 9th, Chase Elliott gets the final stage point in 10th. No stage points today for Tyler Reddick. Denny Hamlin will score 12 with a 1st and a 9th place finish in the stages, meaning that the 51-point deficit coming into the day for the points lead will be down to 39 between Hamlin and Reddick entering stage 3. So stage points alone, it will be down to 39 points, and obviously 1 point per position now, plus a cushion of an additional 15 points between 1st and 2nd. So if Hamlin can go out here, win his 3rd straight race, he could be very, very close to Tyler Reddick. Mathematically had a chance to take the points lead today if Reddick had an off day. I wouldn't say Reddick had an off day, but no stage points. Not the greatest for that 45 team. But based on the strategy they're on right now, they're only 2 positions behind Denny Hamlin. He finished 11th in the stage and just missed out on points. Could still end up with a top 5 run. We still have 10 races to go in the regular season, so there's a lot of time for Hamlin to catch Reddick, or even for another hot streak to maybe pop off for Tyler Reddick. Of course, getting the 5 wins in the first 9 races is sitting on that massive points lead still. We have not seen a driver lead in points so far this year that is not named Tyler Reddick. But Hamlin, the only one able to keep pace here into the late spring, early summer, as Ryan Blaney 3rd in the standings, still 157 back. League of his own, he's got a 30-point spot over Chase Elliott in 4th. Battle for seeding continues. Denny Hamlin only needed 4 laps led today to get to 800 laps led on the season. He does have the most in the series thus far. He has led for more than that just in Stage 1 alone. He also led for a bit in Stage 2 before the green flag pit stops. Hamlin has led for 12 laps today. So up to 808. Kyle Larson led for a bit. He has the second most laps led on the season with 573. He's a couple laps led away from 600 laps led on the season with where we stand in the race. We're not going to see many cars hit pit road during the stage break. I am curious to see if Briscoe, Nemechek, Jones, Chastain, Hocevar, do they all stay out again? Because if they do, Suarez in that as well, that means we would have 6 cars on about 15 lap older tires than that of Hamlin, Elliott, and company that pitted later in the stage. Is that 15 laps going to make a difference before getting inside that final fuel window, which would be with around 40 laps to go in the race? We'll restart with at or about 60 laps to go. That's an interesting dilemma. I think you have to stay out at this point. If you want a shot at the win or a top 10 run, even if you don't get the win, better finish is going to be if you stay out of the pits. Because if you pit here, you're going to be all the way at the tail end of the lead lap, and there are 30 cars on the lead lap right now. Casey Mears in 31st will get the free pass, being the first car lap down. Second free pass of the day for Mears.
Boards out. In-car cam, Denny Hamlin. Also the 17 of Christopher Busher. We got the BuildSubmarines.com 360 camera inside. Joe Logano and the 22 Hunt Brothers Pizza camera. Another 360 cam here. They're working on this car, doing repairs. William Byron in the 24, the Andrew 360 camera. And Tyler Reddick in the number 45 Toyota Racing. Another 360 in his car. Gives us great shots today. Thank you to all our camera operators down there in the TV compound. Great work. You're an onboard specialist. I enjoy doing this, man. It's fun. I got to run the onboards one time during a race. Back in my driving days, during one of the O'Reilly races, I went into the truck and got to run the onboard. It's actually tougher than it looks.
Hey, speaking of O'Reilly, congratulations to you. Oh, win yesterday from Justin Allgaier.
It was. I've I got a couple girls that are 5 and 8, and Nicole and Island. They didn't see my racing career, but it was cool because Justin said if we win, we'll give one of them a ride around the car. So Nicole got the luxury of doing that yesterday. It was awesome. It was great to see. It was happy for you guys. Junior Motorsports has been dominant. Now we see John Hunter Nemechek, as expected, stays on the racetrack. Briscoe as well. Gilliland will lead Ricky Stenhouse to pit road. They're going to need full tanks of fuel, Trevor.
Yes, sir. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. We saw him run 46 laps there on that tank of fuel, Steve. I know we've heard some numbers of 42, 43. So they told him to be checking his dash for that gauge. He stretched it long. Said they had made their bed. They had to lay in it now, Marty.
Todd Gilliland, very complimentary of Bruce Lawson. They managed stage 2. That stage went. Now they're going to be waiting on all that fuel. And now the final stage on the way at Pocono. The man that won here last year out front now, Chase Briscoe.
So Hocevar and Chastain did hit pit road. They won the race out of the pit lane, taking 4 tires. I was wondering if they were going to pit. They would have been at the tail end of those cars that had about 15 extra laps on their tires. Surprised that the Spire car split the strategy. Hocevar pitted. Suarez did not. He stayed out. So Chase Briscoe will be the leader on the restart with John Hunter Nemechek in second. Eric Jones will be third. Daniel Suarez fourth. Then Denny Hamlin with 15 lap fresher tires will roll off fifth. Chase Elliott in sixth. So that is what we have to look forward to as we get into stage number 3. Final stage, Pocono Raceway, upcoming. You're listening live on KRC. Full flag-to-flag coverage of today's race continues. Got some thunder outside. I don't know if you can hear that or not. It just started raining here. Now I just got to hope that we have power for the next 50 to 60 minutes to get through this stream. It would suck if we don't. So again, the top 4 cars stay out of the pits. 5th on back will have fresher tires. They have about 5 to 6 laps on them. Looking at about 20 green flag laps for the likes of Briscoe, Nemechek, Jones, and Suarez from when they all pitted. Will it matter that much? It's going to be very interesting to see if that will be the case. $60 laps to go this time by. Eric Cartman.
And Cartman from South Park, too, joining us.
But dry and some free entertainment here. Before we get you back to the booth, Todd Gilliland, winner of stage 2. What do you make so far of this 34 and the strategy they're on?
Well, it's so easy to just fixate on the 11 success over the last couple of weeks and Toyotas in general and guys that run good every week. But I just wanted to take time and give flowers to Todd Gill and the 34 team. And Chris Lawson, his teammate Marty, just mentioned him during his pit road report. I sat next to Chris Lawson on the plane up here, and we talked the entire time about how hard it is for those mid-tier teams to go find success. He said the team and the crew have worked past midnight 3 days this week to try to turn not only that car around here to Pocono, but then get ready to San Diego. So we don't talk about enough how hard it is for the road crew guys to get these cars prepared and to get those little nuggets of success every now and then. They go a long way for a small team like that. So kudos, Todd Gill and Chris Lawson, that 34 team.
Talking about strategy, it always comes into play. Do you 3-stop it? Do you 4-stop it? We have 2 strategies happening now. Chase Briscoe and the Legacy cars versus the 9 of Chase Elliott and the 11 of Denny Hamlin on a different strategy. They're trying to do it with 4 stops. Corey, which strategy do you ultimately think will win out?
Well, if I had Stevie's little pin to draw on the screen right there, I'd be circling row 3, that 9 car versus the 11. You've got a couple guys on different strategies, but the race for the win, I believe, is between the 11 and the 9. Thank you, Stevie, for doing that, because we've seen Chevys have a lot of steam. Those Hendrick engines under the hood seem to fire off with a bit more pace. So the 9 needs to get out here, get a good restart launch, to try to get in front of that 11 while they manage this 3rd stage.
Chase Elliott has a win here, Adam Alexander, in 2022. 4 straight top 10s here, the longest of any active driver here at the Tricky Tropical.
Yeah, and his dad, Bill Elliott, really good here. The Hall of Famer, won 5 times at Pocono. Nice assist by you, by the way. I was a little worried that something was going to change when circle was going to move, but I was doing my best up here. There's been a lot going on. What you need to know now is there's going to be 59 to go. We take the green flag. Everybody needs green flag. Pit stop. The real question is how long the stop's going to be, and we could surmise and guess a little bit. And we're a bit educated, but I believe how much fuel you need could be a difference maker. You look right here on the left-hand side, fuel remaining, right? Well, there's a big difference between Suarez and Hamlin. Now, it's not that Suarez can't get to where he needs to get to. He's just going to have to put more gas in on the stop. Versus Hamlin, Elliott, Reddick, I think they're down to only 1 can and 1 can only. Marty.
Steve, which strategy is right? Chris Gale thinks he and Denny Hamlin's strategy is the correct one. Listen in as to why.
Have a tire finish in there. Not in. One lap. Usually, all here, tire. Don't get volume. The leader. And then, the window.
There you have it. Stay within 3 seconds of the leader. You have a tire advantage. The task is clear. Can Denny and Chase do it? We'll have to see.
All right, headed for the final restart, potentially, of the race. Last scheduled caution with the Stage 2 and only 59 laps to go. I've seen a couple of long green flag runs today. Back to racing at Pocono. Chase Briscoe leads the field down into turn 1. He is clear of the pack on the outside of row 1 from the restart. 3 wide just behind Denny Hamlin for the 5th place position. Chase Elliott in the middle between Daniel Suarez and I believe Eric Jones in the 43. Briscoe up the racetrack. Got up out of the groove, and John Henry Nemechek's going to end up with the race lead. I got to see that again. I don't know what happened to Briscoe, if he timed getting back into the gas too soon, but he ends up back in 4th place with a huge loss of momentum down the Long Pond straightaway. Gets passed by the next 3 cars behind him. Denny Hamlin jumps all the way up to 2nd. And Chase Elliott, Hamlin's counterpart on the same strategy, still buried back in 5th. And Nemechek will lead the first green flag lap of stage number 3. Hamlin with a tire advantage by about 15 laps, trailing in the draft and looking to pounce for the race lead before long. And then if Nemechek gets back in traffic behind Denny Hamlin on those older tires, can he still hang on to about 2nd or 3rd before the rest of the field is going to swallow him up? At some point, those tires are going to even out. It's not going to be an advantage the entire run. It's more going to be these first handful of laps or so off the restart until the tires on those that have fresher ones evens out. It does help that they have had a heat cycle in those tires, running about 5 to 6 green flag laps at the end of stage 2 before jumping on this strategy. Three wide on the front stretch. Just inside the top 10, Ryan Blaney on the outside. RFK Ford down on the bottom of Ryan Preece. Michael McDowell in the middle. Al Blaney washing up the track just a little bit, and that was a great run by Ryan Preece to not only bypass both cars, but cleared them by a lot. That was for 11th. Chris Buescher just set the fastest lap of the race at lap 92. That was actually towards the end of stage 2. He is in 8th place at the moment. That lap time that was set was a 52.682 around this 2.5 mile oval. Larson Reddick jockeying for position. Larson taking the spot away from Reddick through turn 3. That pass was for 8th. Hamlin still sitting in 2nd, buying his time on Nemechek, while Chase Elliott tries to get through those on slightly older tires. Elliott to 4th now, just got by Chase Briscoe. Next ahead, Eric Jones in the 43. Prime Video showing a graphic points as they run. Hamlin minus 32 to Tyler Reddick. Mentioned that gap was going to be 39 points entering stage 3 based off the stage points scored for Hamlin and 0 today for